I'm going to need you to do me a favor this week. I'm actually going to need you to do me like 4 favors, but they're all the same favor, so I'll just say one thing instead of 4 things.
Is it murdering people? I assume it's murdering people.
No, okay.
That's
so
the last favor somebody asked me.
So before we get started, before we even talk about this favor, welcome everybody back to the Rage Like Podcast. Here, Rage Like. I'm Jeff,
And I'm Mike.
Jeff's been having some troubles recently, specifically some kind of some bizarre healtho stuff. I don't want to get into it too much. If there becomes a thing, I'll talk about it. But right now, I got blood. They took my blood. Some vampires took my blood, and they
They want
took
the midichlorians.
They took it for testing. But yesterday I stayed up for 24 hours. Actually, I stayed up for about 32 hours straight, and then I took a pill and I slept for 12 hours, and I'm like sleep hungover. I'm in that thing where it's like you slept too much and your body's just like, well, just keep sleeping. We're going to catch up on 20 years of sleep debt. And I'm like, I don't have that kind of time, body. I got the Rage Like Podcast. So when I get tired, I feel like a few things happen. 1, I forget things. 2, I get real bitchy about things. And then also, those are really the only 2 things. So if I get too bitchy, you tell me. I mean, I'm sure the comment section will tell me, but
I'll be fine.
You tell me. You'd be like, "Damn, Jeff, that's somebody's grandma, man. Don't you call her a slut? That's a little much.
How would you know that?
That's a little much. In fact, we'll get to it at some point, but there is one. I don't know if anybody knows this, but when I put together the show, I don't just put these news stories in any rando order. Like I put them in a very specific order, and I try to think of the segues between the segments. I try to put the segments in a logical order so I can flow.
Oh, okay.
I have one segue that might be a little questionable this week.
Now I'm curious.
Yeah, we'll get to that eventually. But before we do, Michael, what have you been up to over the last week?
I've been playing a lot of God of War since we finished our sequential on the Patreon.
Mm-hmm.
And my friend gave me a little tip on how to murder all the Valkyries.
Oh, really?
Except for this Valkyrie Queen, which is get Sindri's legendary armor.
Okay.
Because you have runes for days.
All right. Fair enough.
Rune attacks, man. Oh, my God. Like, I walked up to a Valkyrie that I died on a bunch of times, and I slaughtered it in like a minute.
Wow.
Because the armor, like, if you upgrade it enough, like, once you use a rune, the other rune will just regenerate right away. So you can just keep going back and forth between them all.
Oh, shit.
And just ruin fucking annihilate a Valkyrie.
You say you are ruining those Valkyries?
Absolutely. Like, there's only one I didn't beat with that armor, which was the Muspelheim one, and with the armor just fucking helped me annihilate the others. But now I'm fighting the Valkyrie Queen, and that woman is insane.
Okay.
I can only get her down to like half health.
Yeah.
But that's about as far as I get every single time.
Okay.
But
fair enough.
I want to beat her before beating the game now because I know how the game ends. So
right.
It's just like...
Just trying to do all side stuff. Yeah, I was trying to think. I'm pretty sure that I watched something or did something or something happened, but my brain is now
it's
just...
all the forgetfulness.
Yeah, my brain is garbage. I mean, like, I've been rewatching a lot of Parks and Recreation and rereading the last book in my favorite book series.
Okay.
And it's like, I've already talked about those things 100 times. I mean, I don't know if I've ever actually specifically... I guess I just tossed Parks and Recreation out there like everybody's already seen it. If you haven't watched it, you should watch it.
If they haven't seen it by now, they probably aren't going to.
Yeah.
Is part of what I want to say. But the best thing is that the creators of God of War used a lot of their assets to make gifts based on Parks and Rec.
Oh, really?
So much fun.
Yeah.
Every single time. I use them all the time. Specifically the one where it's when Ron throws the computer in the dumpster.
Oh, yeah.
I use the Kratos version of that all the fucking time.
And one where it was when he's dancing in the hat, right?
Yeah, it's the one of him dancing in the hat. There's that one. They made one of Atreus doing that kid who's typing, who does like the thumbs up when he stares at the screen.
Oh, yeah.
That's a GIF as well somewhere.
Yep.
God, I love those fucking guys so
They're
much.
pretty amazing.
I saw Call of the Wild, by the way.
Oh, yeah?
I feel like I'm allowed to talk about it. I don't think it's out yet, but I did the review for one of us since it's already up.
Well, Jack London.
The Jack London book. It's a story about a dog, but it's mostly about Harrison Ford narrating over this dog.
Sure.
It's in this movie. Man, it's fucking weird.
The book is like all inside of the dog's head, if I remember correctly.
Well, yeah, because I watched it with somebody who had read the book, and I remember before it started, the first thing she said is like, I wonder if all the dog death is going to be in this. Like, outright says that. And I'm like, oh boy.
Yeah.
And luckily it's not, I guess. I don't really know if that's a good thing or a bad thing. But the weirdest thing is every animal's CGI. Every single animal.
Why?
Because they wanted to have the dogs have expressions that you can't.
Dogs have expressions?
Get a dog to do like on command kind of thing.
Well, like what? Crossing his eyes and sticking his tongue out?
No, stuff like looking sad or something. And there's like also dog fights in it too, I guess.
Okay, well don't call me about the dog fights, but my dog looks sad all the time. He's got resting sad dog face.
It's weird, okay, but the weirdest thing is the fact that it looks like a PS3 model came to life and is hanging out with Harrison Ford and a bunch of other people. And which is fine, like if it was in a game.
Yeah.
But the second you put it next to anything that's real, it's just like, come on, guys.
I don't know. I find it very strange that Harrison Ford did this.
I'm not surprised. They probably caught him when he was smoking something.
Yeah. Well, I will probably be skipping Call of the Wild since I read the book 100 times as a kid. I'll go back and say, as per the Parks and Rec thing, if you haven't ever read Jack London books, you go read Jack London books.
Yeah.
If you want to read books about being outside in like Alaska and the cold weather and there's like dogs and stuff, yeah, do that, man. Like it's
or if you want to see Harrison Ford talk to a 360 hallucination for an hour and 45 minutes.
Did you see?
Go
you
watch
didn't
that
see
movie.
Sonic yet, though.
I haven't. My roommate keeps trying to convince me because he's seen it twice now.
What the fuck?
And I was on my before I came over here. I was like, you know what? I'm tempted to watch Sonic. He's like, really? I'll go with you. I'm like, I'm not. What? No. Like I just said tempted. I didn't say I'm going to. Why are you so excited about this?
Oh, jeez.
He really likes that movie.
I mean, it's doing gangbusters, so
yeah, it's doing great.
Good on you.
My roommate watched it twice.
I haven't even seen Detective Pikachu.
Really?
Sonic is in that category of like, I don't know. I mean, you know, what's a genre that you have zero interest whatsoever in? It'd be like
Sonic.
Yeah, I mean, it'd be like if they're like, oh my God, this is the best movie about Iranian teenagers coming of age in the 1970s. And I'd be like,
wasn't
cool.
it an actual movie?
I don't know.
I think that was that.
I keep almost watching Little Women and then going like, even if this is the best version of Little Women that's ever women to little, then like I'm still not really all that interested in it.
I always think of Mo when he's like reading that book to those kids or whatever in The Simpsons.
Yeah.
And it's like they weren't children anymore. They were little women. And he starts crying. I always think that every time somebody brings up Little Women.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm probably not going to see Sonic, you guys. You guys can
not either.
Make your own decisions about Sonic.
I don't want to go fast.
John and Amanda really liked it. They thought it was real fun. Great. It seems like a good movie. If you're into Sonic the Hedgehog,
I'll watch it when it comes out on home video, I guess.
I'll watch it for 20 minutes and then get mad at it when it comes out on home video.
You'll be like, my puppet's better. I'm better at this when you got that Sonic mask on your wall.
Yep.
Like, I should have been in that movie.
I should have been Sonic. We all know who the best Sonic was. It was Jeff from Rage. So
exactly.
Well, speaking of
I can eat chili dogs
that I don't have a lot of interest in, let's talk about Animal Crossing.
Yay.
I actually realized the other day, Michael, that so Rage Select has been going for 6.5 years, something like that. And then I think I was doing videos over at Spill for a couple years before that. So it's, we're kind of coming on a decade. I've never played an Animal Crossing game on the show.
Oh, yeah, because they were all handhelds for a while, weren't they?
Well, there was the Wii one, but I think that came out before I had a Wii, or Jason Murphy and I in our mid-30s were going to play a video game, and I would rather play Double Dragon on the NES than well, I mean, that's a good game. So
yeah, that's good. I don't see the issue with that.
But like, I just don't think it would be this hard. You remember back in the Spill days how like we played Minecraft incredibly begrudgingly. We didn't want to play Minecraft, and then now Jason plays Minecraft all the goddamn time.
It happens.
But Animal Crossing is maybe not my favorite thing in the world. But
I get it, but it's not my thing either.
We did have a Nintendo Direct. It's kind of interesting that we haven't had a general Nintendo Direct in a while, but we had like the Smash one
ones.
and what was
Pokemon one?
Pokemon, yep. So we had one of these. I don't know how long we're going to sit on this because there's a lot here that is like the literal Nintendo Direct starts with them saying like part 1 is a recap of everything we've already said.
Oh, geez.
Part 2 is like a few new things, and part 3 is frequently asked questions. I'm like, what?
The frequently asked questions?
Yeah, like the questions about they double down on the whole just like you only get one island per Switch. So like everybody everybody who logs into your Switch goes same amount. Also, apparently, it doesn't have cloud save support.
That's
but then they were
weird.
like, it doesn't have cloud save support, but we do have a program in place in case your Nintendo Switch gets damaged or broken where you can get your data back. And it's like, why is it a special thing? Like, why not just upload my save game to the cloud, yo?
Like a normal person.
I don't understand. It's not like this is brand new technology that we're trying to invent.
Well, Nintendo's real bad about that, though.
Yeah. I don't. Nintendo, get your. I mean,
it's the reason it's the only online service of the 3 I don't have.
Yeah, I don't know. In any case, Animal Crossing is coming out. If you want to know more, I'll talk a little bit about this. I sat through this entire 30-minute thing. I mean, it's Animal Crossing. You go to this island. You're going to get a tent, and then you're going to go around and you're going to chop down trees and get apples and sell stuff for bells to Tom Nook, and then you're going to use those bells to buy crafting things so you can make a bench. I mean, it's what it is. Like, it's a very simple video game.
Yeah, it's very simplistic, but it's supposed to be very relaxing to the people who really like it.
Yeah.
But my issue is that it's not for me. I get why it would be for, all those other people. But Doom's also coming out around pretty much the same time.
Well,
so.
I've said this before, and I mean, like, this isn't a knock against Animal Crossing, but like, I don't really play video games to relax. I play video games to be like stimulated, right? I want games to get me all.
It depends on how I'm feeling that day. But the thing is, I relax doing things I can't do on my own.
Yeah.
Whereas Animal Crossing is just like, you want to go camping? It's like, if I do, I can just go camping instead, kind of thing.
I think
you want to be in debt? It's like to a raccoon? Not really.
I think the really interesting thing is the way that even in this trailer they talk, or even in this Nintendo Direct, they talk about how, like, if you want to upgrade your tent to a house, Tom Nook will basically, you take out a loan from him and then you turn it into a house, and it's 98,000 bells. And then even in the trailer, Nintendo's been like, but there's no interest, and there's no time limit, and you never really have to pay Tom Nook back. And I'm like, because there was literally a thing where people were getting at Nintendo where they were like, I don't want to play this relaxing video game and then have like crushing bell debt anxiety as Tom Nook pesters me about paying back this loan that I really didn't, predatory lending in my Animal Crossing game. And so part of me is like, well, if that's the case, Nintendo, if there's no time pressure and you never really have to pay Tom Nook back, why not just take that part out of the game?
Yeah, why even have Tom Nook lend you money again?
Because I got news for you. Just knowing that I am in debt to anyone is going to make me anxious. I don't need Tom Nook to be tapping me on the shoulder. I'm going to know.
Okay, it's really funny. From the angle I'm at right now, that radio looked like a gun because of the lighting.
Oh.
Like, I thought he opened up the box and pulled a gun out of his fucking tent.
If there were guns in this game, I don't know. Anyway, there's a bunch of different stuff. There's going to be a handheld app that like connects to the game that you can use to tippity tap tap, like text people or even voice chat with people that are in the game.
That's weird.
You can use it to do like invite people to your game. There's kind of a whole thing about inviting people to your island, and if they're friends, they can hang out and they can do some stuff. But if they're best friends, then you have to make somebody your best friend to allow them to use like the axe and the shovel, so that people don't just come into your island and start digging everything up. You're going to be able to play up to 8 people on one Switch. But you can only do 4 at a time in local multiplayer.
Okay.
And then it looks like from the description that the person who initiated the game, like everybody's going to be on their screen. So like if they move, it moves the screen and it just kind of pushes everybody along with them.
That's weird.
And then you can kind of like, it's not going to split into like a and I think that part of that is because if you split the actual Switch screen on the actual Switch into 4 parts, nobody could see what the fuck they were doing.
Yeah. Well, hopefully if you have 2 Switches or 4 Switches next to each other, that might work out better.
Yeah. You can go to different islands. You can get stuff from the different islands. You can bring them back to your island. One of the things they showed that I don't think is new is that in the beginning you can, like if there's a place with a river, you can buy a bridge and put the bridge over so you don't, because there's like a pole vault stick that you can use to get over rivers normally. But if you want to create like a permanent bridge, you can do that. And then apparently really, really, really high up the level, they give you a construction hat and you can literally reform the island. Like you can destroy stuff, you can even it, you can make like ramps, you can make waterfalls, like you can actually destruct the island.
Oh, that shows like a video show that this guy got like fucked up by wasps.
Oh yeah,
Jesus, his face is all fucked up.
Yeah, you get medicine for wasps. There's ghosts. There's castaways that come to your island. Yeah, you can there's NPCs that you'll be able to put on the island. They also talked about how as time goes on, they're looking to keep it upgrading. So like Tom Nook's little tent where you can buy supplies is eventually going to become like a brick and mortar store. They're going to be adding more buildings to the island. You can pick stuff up and move it all around. You can do anything you want. You can even apparently the mobile app. So there was an Animal Crossing on the 3DS. There was like an Animal Crossing design studio game where you could design stuff.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
And apparently you can that will spit out a QR code when you make a thing. And if you use your phone to take a picture of the QR code, you can literally import stuff from that game into this Animal Crossing game.
Okay, that's actually kind of neat.
Yeah. I mean, there's plenty of stuff. Like
I wonder if the Amiibo cards will work on it.
They do. They talk about that in here. Both the Amiibos and the Amiibo cards will work on Animal Crossing.
Get ready for them scalpers to come back.
New Horizons.
For them cards.
So, yeah, there's plenty of stuff to do, and it's all fine. There's plenty of stuff to do, Michael, and none of it appeals to me.
Yeah, you can go to flea markets and stuff at it. It's like, I'll just go to an actual flea market.
Yeah, I mean, I get it. I get it, all right?
I get it.
I get it. You know, a lot of people, I've listened to a lot of people talk about, just kind of making their island and making their thing and, you're working towards a goal.
Their neighborhood, that kind of thing.
Sure, 100%.
It's just not for me. Call me when they start murdering each other or something.
I don't even think they should murder each other. I think you should totally have this game, and when it comes out, we'll play it. Because you know what? I played the Yoshi game, I played the Kirby game, I played the fucking Luigi game, even though I don't like any of those goddamn motherfuckers either, so...
The Luigi game is good, though.
We'll play some Animal Crossing. Are you an elder sibling, Michael?
No, I'm a younger sibling. I'm the youngest of 5 kids.
I think all you Luigi-liking motherfuckers, it's the reason that you like Luigi.
Part of it is that. The other part is I really like green.
Okay.
And ghost busting. Mostly the ghost busting part.
So, yeah. Anyway, there's not, there's plenty of stuff to actually talk about. Like there's bugs and scorpions that will chase you, and you can catch stuff, and your friends can catch stuff, and you can get it. There's a lot of individual nitty-gritty details here, but it's kind of like, you remember when they had that Nintendo Direct with the Smash Brothers, where they went through like the back half of the video was just changes from the Wii U version to the Switch version. Yeah. A lot of that going on in this video. So
I'm very happy for the Animal Crossing people, because like I said, it was a lot of handhelds for a while there. So
yeah, the last I'm right. There wasn't a Wii U one.
No,
there was
a 3DS
The last one was the Wii. It was the only console one, right? Was the Wii?
Was the GameCube one? The Wii one.
GameCube. Oh, okay.
Yeah, it started on GameCube. There's a Wii one that did some online stuff. And then the 3DS from then on. And then I think they made a phone one.
There was a DS. Oh, I did play the phone one, and it was very it was very mobile game, trying to get your cash.
That makes sense.
Also, it was Animal Crossing, which, as I've said, I'm meh about on a phone, and I don't like phone games to begin with. And so I played it for 2 days, and I was like, what am I doing? I spend all day in a house where there's a PlayStation VR and every console that's ever been invented. Why am I dicking around on my phone?
Yeah, that's the thing.
Anyway, speaking of bad takes from Jeff, so last week, actually, this is an emotional roller coaster for me because I thought I messed up and then I didn't. So last week, the NVIDIA, what do they call it? GeForce Now, which is the streaming service that they're offering, took all of Blizzard's games off of their service. Because, well, the thing was that they said that they had been approached by Blizzard and that Blizzard told them to take them all off their service, and they did it. Now, for anybody who didn't listen to last week's podcast, who doesn't know, or you, Michael, as I'm sure that not a lot of people that I know have done this, GeForce Now is basically like a kind of a Stadia-style streaming service, but the difference between it and those other ones is that first off, the subscription for it is $5 a month, but there's also a free version you can play for an hour a day.
Oh.
But then the other thing is that you literally log into a remote computer and then log that remote computer into your Steam account and then install any game you already have on Steam or Battle.net or whatever. So you don't have to buy the games over again. If the game is supported, you can totally just do it. You don't have to do it again. So that happened. We talked about it. Said, boo, Blizzard. This is not the time for you to be doing stupid shit that makes you look bad.
Yeah.
Then right before I posted the podcast, there was a story that was out there that was like, the headline is the headline we're looking at here on this VG 24/7 article. Is Activision Blizzard games removed from NVIDIA GeForce Now due to a quote-unquote misunderstanding. And I was like, oh, fuck. I got it wrong. And 2 days after we reported on that story, they put all the games back on there. So I included a little link with the podcast because I was like, oh, no, I fucked it up.
Oh, okay.
I'm making a big deal about how much of a jerk Blizzard is, and then they totally did right.
Yeah.
But then I actually read the article that had this headline. No. Well, so here's what it is.
Is that why misunderstandings in quotes?
Yes. Misunderstanding means that basically what it means is that NVIDIA GeForce Now had a beta, and during that beta, they had a lot of games on the service. Now, they had assumed that because Blizzard had let them put their games in the beta, that when they converted over to a full retail product, that Blizzard would then allow them to continue doing that. That was the misunderstanding. The misunderstanding was that apparently Activision Blizzard was under the impression that once it went from beta to full-on release, there would be a negotiation about them getting money for allowing these games to be on the GeForce Now service. GeForce makes their money from video cards. They're not interested in paying Activision Blizzard. They're just like, hey, man, we're just trying this thing out. We're not Stadiaing over here. We're not offering a fucking expensive product. We're just like, hey, give it a try. Do you like it? And then if it gets bigger, like the Shield, right?
Oh, okay.
We're just like, hey, man, give it a shot. I mean, you like it?
See how it plays out, kind of thing.
Right. So some mea culpa there, but also the Battle.net games are not back on GeForce Now.
That's interesting. That's a different type of misunderstanding, though.
Yeah,
but it's an understandable one. It's a business like kind of thing, and Activision Blizzard has very much been more Activision than Blizzard as of late.
Yes.
So yeah,
I think that the whole thing with NVIDIA was that they were thinking like, we're creating this platform, and then if somebody on the PC, like, we're not going to pay you to put your games on our service because it's not as much a service as it is just a back end. The people will pay you for your games and then play them on our service. Like, you don't take a cut out of every PC that gets sold that people play World of Warcraft on. Like, people still have to buy the games from Blizzard. They're not available for free on NVIDIA. This is just about support.
Yeah, it's not like a Netflix thing. It's just using it the back end.
Yeah. So I stand by my comments about how Blizzard needs to stop. They need just to have a low profile for a little bit. Stop doing things that they get headlines about.
They just like saying, don't you have phones all the time?
Yes.
It's their motto nowadays.
Yes. But we have one more Blizzard story, but it comes later.
Are they remastering The Death and Return of Superman?
No. No.
Oh.
But speaking of NVIDIA GeForce Now, Blizzard is now in great company because this week Bethesda pulled all of their games except for their most popular game, Wolfenstein Youngblood. The one that's completely uncontroversial that nobody hates at all.
Oh, jeez.
I actually kind of like Wolfenstein Youngblood personally, but that's just me.
I didn't say it was a bad game. I'm just saying out of all the games, that was the one that they left on there.
Yep.
It's just confusing, to be honest.
Yep, but they pulled all of it off, and that means that they pulled off Fallout 3, 76, New Vegas, Elder Scrolls, Skyrim, Doom 2016, Dishonored, Dishonored 2, and The Evil Within 2.
Oh, jeez.
Which I think that, again, I kind of have a big question mark over my head about. I mean, I guess maybe the rationale here is that, like, if this GeForce Now service just like suddenly blows up like crazy, that you don't want to have just given away access to your valuable properties to them. On the other hand...
But why is Fallout 76 not the one they left behind if that's the case? If you think that's what it would have been if that's the case.
Also, I mean, like, you're not signing away the rights to these games. You're just signing a certain platform agreement.
And even then, they're not selling the game.
Right, yeah, again... And
they're not even letting them play it without having them own this game, as far as I can tell.
And honestly, I could make a case for a lot of these, Michael. But Skyrim, come on, Bethesda, you put Skyrim on everything.
It's on everything.
Skyrim's on my fucking Alexa, for God's sake.
It's on a fridge probably somewhere.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's only a matter of time. They put Cuphead in Teslas, right? There's only a matter of time before Skyrim is in Teslas. And then you can move forward by and then go backwards.
God, you'd crash so fast.
I still don't know why they. like I now have a car that has like a little bit of a heads up display, and I've been thinking about getting or I was thinking about like, why don't you just make one of those in like dash things where you could like put your phone in it, right? Like lock a phone into it and then just use your phone for all this bullshit instead of having to buy it. Because I was looking at, they sell specific like 2-slot car stereos that have like a screen on them that have all kinds of like crazy stuff because they're very specific to the car. And then I realized that if you allowed people to just put their cell phones inside of the dashboard, they would just try to watch The Witcher on Netflix and drive at the same time, and they would just die.
No, yeah.
Everybody would die.
That's what they're already doing with their phones now. So
yeah. So Bethesda, they ain't there, man. They're not there. Speaking of things that make people mad, we got news this week that the EA canceled not one, not two, but a third Star Wars game that was in development.
Oh my God.
So apparently this one was called Project Viking. And so we had the Star Wars I don't know. I don't even think 1313 is in here, but we had Star Wars. We had the Amy Hennig one that got canceled. And there was another one that we heard that was just kind of in the planning stages a little bit, got canceled. Apparently this one got canceled too. And it's a real it's a real kick in the nuts because the description of the game was that it was supposed to be a Battlefront spin-off with open world elements and a focus on characters and story. And I'm like, I that sounds like the exact game that like a million Star Wars fans wanted.
Yeah.
And that you were like, no, you get the one with the shitty story and the loot boxes. No.
God, that's so upsetting.
How in the world is EA so bad at making Star Wars games?
I don't know.
Like,
that's the thing.
And here's the thing. I think you and I both didn't really super care for Jedi Fallen Order. Like, it wasn't a terrible game.
It was okay.
But, like, what was the last good Star Wars game? Force Unleashed? Force Unleashed 2?
Gameplay-wise, yes. Story-wise, no.
Yeah. I don't know. It's just, how is it so hard to make an action video game?
I guess Republic Commando, I think, is the only one that I think was the last good of both, I think.
Okay.
Was that old Xbox game?
Yeah, Republic Commando was good.
Yeah.
I think I played it for a Patreon when I was drunk. Or maybe I imagined that. I don't know.
I couldn't tell you.
I played the Clone Wars game, and then I didn't like it. But then the Clone Wars and I are not super best friends.
There's a Clone Wars game?
Oh, yeah, it's real old. Like, real old.
I don't remember this at all.
I think it was based off of the movie. I think it was
that's
like
right. Maybe, perhaps. I don't fucking know.
Ahsoka and Anakin like rescuing Gay Jabba's nephew or whatever it is.
That was the movie. But I don't know. I didn't know they made a game of that.
Yep.
That's surprising.
Yep. I've played a lot of those. Sometimes I will run out of things to do and I'll be like, what? Has there been anything notable? Let me go look for something that ties into that.
Found Bounty Hunter. That's why we played Bounty Hunter, wasn't it?
It was indeed. In any case, I don't know, man. Why? Take it away, Disney. Of course, you know what, Michael? Disney doesn't seem to know what the fuck they're doing either.
I don't know.
Nobody seems to know what to do with Star Wars, and it's like, make good things?
I think Jon Favreau is the only one who figured out part of it.
Make something that's not bad. Have you tried getting good?
Yeah.
Have you tried getting good at Star Wars, noob? Like, I don't know. Maybe just hire a bunch of super fans who also went to college for like film studies and then just make a game. I still don't understand why Lord Miller got kicked off of Solo because
their reason was dumb from what I hear.
I love Lord Miller so much, so I would have loved to have seen that. Anyway, so yeah, if you weren't already mad about Star Wars this week, there you go. Mad about Star Wars.
That's so bad.
Yep. Okay, here's our other Blizzard stories. So speaking of games that I've canceled, never came out, the strangest thing happened this week where people online got access to a playable demo build of StarCraft Ghost.
Huh.
And it's kind of incredible because if you have a modified Xbox, apparently you can run it through a modified Xbox and there's like actual 720p gameplay of StarCraft Ghost, which I always thought I was always super psyched to play.
Yeah, like I forgot that was a thing.
Really, really wanted to play it. Like, it's my favorite spin-off of a RTS game to an action game since Command and Conquer Renegade. But yeah, I still don't know why Blizzard. I mean, like I watched the what happened for this one and everything, but like I still don't know why Blizzard never decided to just finish this. I think it's because by the time they started to get it into a place where it was going to be functional, like the next console generation was right around the corner.
That sounds right. That happens a lot.
Because it was an original Xbox and like PS2 era game.
And it was very late into its cycle.
But it's interesting. And if you ever wanted to see what kind of what a game that didn't come out looked like, you could check out this video. The other thing is that it's a stealth game, and I'm just like, great, because it was all like Nova being all stealthy and shit.
Oh, okay. Maybe they should, revisit this whole thing.
Dude, you kidding me? They're getting ready to put out Diablo 4, Diablo on phones. What else? Overwatch 2.
Oh, yeah.
Is there a Warcraft thing? Warcraft expansion?
Maybe.
I have no idea.
They just did that other classic or whatever.
Oh yeah, the WoW classic. Oh, and there's Warcraft 3 Reforged.
That's right. That's what I was thinking of.
Yeah.
Which apparently is all kinds of fucked anyways.
Yeah. Yeah. So you can go check that out. And maybe, if you want to, you can leave a negative rating on Warcraft 3 Reforged on Metacritic. Just like people have been doing recently. There's two stories that I've got here, Michael, which is really interesting, of people who have decided to show how broken Metacritic's user rating system is by review bombing video games on Metacritic's review system, where they will create multiple accounts and then log all those accounts in, and then give the game a 0 and a 0 and a 0 and a 0 and a 0.
Yeah.
The latest game that this happened with was this game called Kunai, which is an action game that came out last week on PC and the Switch, that apparently this person just went in and totally bombed the shit out of it. Now, the thing is that a lot of times this has been, the reasoning for this has been put out as I'm doing this to show how broken Metacritic's system is. But then the thing is that once it becomes clear that there's one person doing this, they just erase all of their reviews, and then the game goes back to normal. Like Kunai right now is back to a 7.1 or whatever user review ratings on Metacritic. I'm torn about this because I don't think you're really showing anybody anything, but on the other hand, I do think that the Metacritic score user score system is broken.
Oh, we've had this discussion plenty of times.
Well, the thing
it happens all the time.
Last week I was even looking at it and I was like, here's a thing, right? And the user review score is 5 out of 10, right?
Yeah.
And then I was like, okay, show me the user reviews. And it's well, this person gave it a 7 and this person gave it an 8, and that's it. And it's it'll say there's 5 reviews, but then I only see 2 of them, and I'm assuming the others might be in a different language or for a different location. But
I have no idea.
But if that's the case, why are you factoring them into the score that I see?
Yeah.
I mean,
that's
wait
weird.
for me to go to metacritic.co.uk to see all the ones from the Welsh or whatever. I don't know. It's very strange, and it doesn't really work very well, and I hate user review scores. They're useful sometimes, but I really hate them.
They're mostly useless nowadays, at least.
Yeah, well,
because the internet likes to hive mind things.
Yeah, but I mean, there was a game, there may not be useful for some games, but for a game like Kunai, I feel like I would trust it because this is an indie game. There's no, quote unquote, politics or anything involved with it.
Yeah.
So why are people brigading one way or the other for this game? Unless it's genuinely a bad game. Because there have been games that I've seen that get a critic 7 and a user 3 that are bad games where critics or sometimes I don't think you can trust every single critic in the world.
No,
sometimes they get up their butts about this stuff.
There's some that are really negative for no reason.
Yep, and some are real shitty. A lot of Michael Bay movies I feel like get scored way low. I don't mind the Bay man as much as a lot of other people do.
Yes, that's the reason.
So anyway, that happened. And this isn't even the first time it's happened in last week. Because I don't know if you remember AI, the Somnium Files.
Oh, of course I remember the insanity that is AI, the Somnium Files.
Yeah, totally got review bombed. But this is a strange story. The person who did it. The developer of AI, the Somnium Files, went on Twitter and said, hey, everybody, AI, the Somnium Files is getting review bombed on Metacritic. Could you help us out? So people started going in and giving it 10s to try to even it out. And then Metacritic erased all of the erroneous ones. So now AI The Somnium Files is the highest rated, user rated Switch game on Metacritic.
That's amazing.
Because they didn't erase all the 10s that people gave it to try to even it out.
Yeah.
The other thing is, it's a very strange story. You should go back and look at it. The guy that did it initially said, like, I'm doing this to show how flawed the system is. But when they started, then they found a bunch of posts from him on it was like a Reset Era or Reddit or something, where he did it because his favorite character he felt was treated poorly by the story of the game, and that it didn't focus enough on the one minor character that he thought was the most interesting, or his crush or something. And so then he went and review bombed it, and it's like, that is why you cannot trust user reviews. 0 out of 10 needs more Tifa, would not play again. So
that's amazing.
Yeah,
good for AI Somnium Files.
Yeah,
that's gonna stay like that for a while.
It's a real strange game. Speaking of people being mad at stuff, we got to talk about something that people are mad about. This is a very strange story. So, Persona 5 is getting ready to come out in the Royale Edition in the West. And this is a new version that's got a new character, some enhancements. I don't know. For anybody who doesn't know about JRPGs, a lot of times, like the Final Fantasies would have the International Edition, and this is kind of like that, where they're adding in some new stuff, and it's coming out. So, in the original Persona 5, there was a scene where two older men who are very flamboyant and obviously gay start hitting on Ryuji in the street, and he has a very extreme reaction to this and turns around, calls them monsters, and runs away from them. Now, it's funny. I'm like, I don't even know where to start with this, but basically, there were a lot of folks, especially folks in the LGBT, etc. community, that were not happy with this portrayal because I don't think there are a lot of gay people in Persona 5.
Not that I can think of. I didn't get very far, though.
But the impression that it was that, like, these two gay characters are preying on a high school boy, and that this had kind of come off as offensive. So apparently they are changing that.
Okay.
In the re-release of Royale. There's even an interview here with like one of the original translators of Persona 5 who said that when they got to that part of the game, when they were translating it, they were like, they
were like, what do we do here? You monsters.
So now I think that
God, what did the actual translation say then? That makes me wonder.
You know what? If you watch anime, right? If you watch anime or you rub up against this stuff, no pun intended.
Yeah, let's not wording here, buddy. Phrasing.
I feel like you see this kind of thing of like, you know, imagine a scene in a cartoon where like they do this all the time, right? Imagine the scene in a cartoon where there's like an old horny woman who's trying to go after a guy. And he just is like, oh no, and like runs away, and he's like, imagine that, except that instead of an old horny woman, it's basically two older gay men instead of the horny woman, or you know.
I feel like it is in other things too, to be honest.
Yes, yeah. And the thing is that I can see this is so tricky because it's like, on the one hand, I can see where the people are coming from that are like, this is offensive, this is kind of gross. You're implying that gay people are like predators, which is a thing. That's a stigma. That was a thing they used to say, that like, you know, gay men preyed on high school boys type of thing. And I can understand that. On the other side, I can kind of see it just being like a kind of a weird off-color joke that works better in Japan than it does in the United States.
That's kind of how I see it, to be honest. I'm not saying it's a great scene kind of thing, but I get why it's there.
Yeah.
Because that joke, like you said, that joke about the old horny lady, that's literally a joke in JoJo's Bizarre Adventure at one point, kind of thing.
I mean, it's a joke in that scene in Who Framed Roger Rabbit where Lena Hyena is chasing Eddie Valiant through, and she's all, you know, it's a joke in a lot of things. Not to get to a bunch of Looney Tunes shows. Yeah, Pepe Le Pew kind of falls a little bit into that category. I mean, there is a dynamic to be had about someone who is comically romantically attracted to someone they should not be, and the other person being kind of horrified at the thought.
That happened to me in real life one time.
So like the thing is that I can understand using that situation for humor, and I can understand people that don't want to see that as representation of their community. Personally, there are a lot of people who get very just like no censorship ever, and I'm like, well, look, you do know that when this game was translated from Japanese, things were changed, right?
Yeah.
Like, not all Japanese idioms, not all Japanese jokes, not all the way. When something is translated from one language to another, a lot of times rewriting has to be done.
Well, that's why it's called localization, not translation.
Right, because there's literally, if you could just do that, then it would just run the script through Google Translate, and then the game would be out tomorrow.
That's the reason Phoenix Wright takes place in L.A., even though it clearly doesn't take place in L.A.
Exactly. So, like, there's already been changes that have happened to it. My big thing comes in that, like, is it something, like, are they changing something big? And to me, this is not big.
No, it's a single sequence that has nothing to do with the plot. It's not like all of a sudden a villain is now a different ethnicity or something. Like, it's nothing really major is changing.
Yeah. It's also a very complicated issue, so let's not linger here too long.
It's a single joke is the thing. It's like, guys, it's fucking lighten up. It's a single joke.
Tell you what, let's go.
Like, it's being changed.
Let's
Good luck with that.
Go from one JRPG to another. Last week, Square put out the entire 5-minute intro of Final Fantasy VII.
Yes, it's a very intricate intro.
Yeah,
compared to the original.
Yes, it's got a lot. Well, it starts during the day and then eventually goes to the nighttime.
It starts like it looks almost like dusk, maybe at most.
Yeah, there's like
it's pretty bright out actually.
A lot of Midgard, like. It's a day in Midgar, everyone.
It lets you look at the city life of Midgar.
Yeah,
which I guess the original didn't really tell you much of.
I guess, and then we go to the whole Aerith and the Mako and the flowers, and then we go to the train, and then we cut between the train, and then it comes out. It's very pretty.
Yeah.
It's very, very pretty. It is incredibly pretty. I do like. You know what? Well, here's one thing I will say. I don't really know how iconic it is, or if I'm just the only person who gets so nitty gritty about these details. I really do like the way that they zoom out and then do the quick cuts of the train to zoom back in like they did in the original one, because that cutting is very similar, or actually it's identical, I think, to the opening of Final Fantasy VII.
I think so.
Original one.
Yeah, because it's a very iconic little sequence.
As it zooms back in and then it's showing the train, So, but no matter the problems that I have with Square or Final Fantasy or any of that stuff, like from an artistic point of view, it's damn good looking. It's damn good looking.
As much as I'm not really all that excited for it, I have to admit they did a lot of work on this thing.
When I see stuff like this, it makes me a little more excited. So I don't know. We'll see. But you know what I'm not excited about when it comes to Final Fantasy VII is that I'm going to have to delete everything off of my hard drive, because this week we also found out that Final Fantasy VII is going to have a 100 gigabyte install on the PlayStation 4.
Really?
Yes.
Holy shit. That beats the Red Dead 2 one.
Yep. The game's on 2 Blu-rays.
Oh, fuck.
Yep. So
damn, they must have put a lot of work into that then.
I feel like we need to make some new media, because I am not going back to putting in disc 2 for every other game that I play. All right?
Maybe it's what they did with Red Dead, which one of the discs was an install disc.
Maybe.
If we're lucky.
Maybe. I don't think so. I think if they had that, they would probably make you download a 50 gig patch on the first day and then install half of it.
Like I said, Red Dead had like that fuck off huge disc. So what was it, like almost 90 gigs?
Something like that. It was pretty big. It was pretty goddamn big. In any case, clear out your hard drives, everyone.
Oh, jeez. I'm so glad I have the terabyte PS4.
Yep. Let's see. From there, let's go from one JRPG to a WRPG. News came out this week that The Witcher 3 has sold $50 million worth of Witcher 3s on Steam.
Oh my god.
Now that's notable for one specific thing.
On Steam.
It means that as of now, any additional Witcher 3 sales, that CD Projekt Red gets 80% of the profits instead of 70, I believe.
Oh.
Is that there's a certain sales number when Steam was trying to battle with Epic about this, or there was a certain sales number where if you got above that sales number, then Steam would drop the percentage that they took for every copy sold.
Oh.
So they put out a tweet about it. A little Geralt in a little tuxedo, just saying, "Hey, thanks everybody." So yeah,
that's somebody's Facebook profile picture. I tell you, now.
There was actually we didn't talk about it, but there was a huge bump in sales after the Netflix show.
Yeah, apparently even for the console ones too. Like it took a huge jump, and apparently I think the most amount of people playing Witcher 3 on Steam had like hit its peak.
The peak concurrent was 102,000.
Yeah,
and then apparently
after the show.
Yeah, the NPD estimated that the sales of the game were up 554% in December.
Fuck.
So
people were really into Henry Cavill.
Yep. Well, I think that it's a good intro if somebody watched that show and then they're just like, all right. Let's see what this whole. I hear my friends talking about this shit for fucking 4 years now. What is it? $20? Okay, have my $20.
Yeah, it helps that it's the super complete edition nowadays.
Yeah. Let's see. Speaking of the Epic Game Store, we got some information. Actually, we got the full release of Fortnite Season 2, Chapter 2.
Attack of the Clones.
It's all spy related. It's all kind of 70s super spy, James Bond.
Although its fucking theme keeps reminding me of The Incredibles.
Yeah, well, that's kind of based on that whole thing.
Yeah, that's true.
The theme reminded me of No One Lives Forever, so
that's also fair. But a lot of tuxedos, little cat suits.
Yep.
And probably the most uncomfortable character I've seen in quite some time.
Are you talking about Meowscles?
Yeah, I was talking about Meowscles.
Meowscles is the best character.
Geez.
Imagine everybody just like a giant buff Arnold Schwarzenegger body, but then just like a little cat head.
He
on
reminds
the top.
me. Have you ever seen the webcomic Business Cat?
Yes.
It reminds me of Business Cat.
Yeah, I can see that.
But like creepily,
I can see
Business
that.
Cat.
So I don't really know that much, but I absolutely love these. I love the fact that that Epic continues to put this amount of work into these when they could probably just rest on their laurels.
Yeah.
But they've got a lot going on. Apparently, there are 2 agencies, Shadow and something else.
The Hedgehog?
No hedgehogs. No hedgehogs. That have split up the island, and you're going to see a lot of like theming of those 2 things. There are a bunch of Epic doesn't like to put out like specific patch notes.
Oh, okay.
But apparently there've been a few changes to some of the guns. There's a bunch of new skins. There's a new battle pass that has some interesting stuff. One of the characters has a kind of like a random skin where when you get them, you get a randomized skin. You get Meowscles and Midas and all these people, and also Deadpool.
Also Deadpool's there.
Deadpool's there too for some reason, even though Deadpool's not a super spy, but
he does what he wants. He's Deadpool.
He's just in your game.
Yeah.
Is there a new Deadpool movie? No.
But I'm going to be in your game anyways.
Does this game mode have anything to do with Deadpool? No, but Deadpool's here, everybody.
I wonder if it was supposed to originally at some point.
I don't know.
Maybe there was something they were going to use him for later. I don't know.
I forget.
He seems very excited.
I forget what the last thing.
I wonder if they're going to get Nolan North for him or Ryan Reynolds.
Well, it depends on if he has any voice, right? Because it's just a skin that you can play as.
Oh, yeah, I guess that's true.
I don't know if they have any actual voice lines.
Or are they going to get the guy who did Batman Beyond? Because he did the voice for Ultimate Spider-Man or something.
I was trying to think of what the last one. There was some other crossover thing. Anyway, Fortnite is the coolest game that I'm probably never going to play.
It's crazy. Like they did the Batman thing not too long ago.
They did the
Star Wars, Thanos.
Mm-hmm.
The Palpatine message was in fucking Fortnite.
Yep.
Which was weird as fuck.
Yeah, they're all over it.
That Captain America shield that we fucked up because we did that. We did a video for that.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I remember what I watched last week. I watched The Kid Who Would Be King.
Oh.
It was very good.
I like that movie a lot.
Yeah, it was very, very good. I liked it quite a bit. Anyway, nothing to do with The Kid Who Would Be King, but speaking of games that are constantly adding stuff, No Man's Sky has put out a new update where we have a new living ship class in the game. Looks like a weird biomechanical ship that you can get. There's also apparently...
Does it speak to you?
I don't know. I think that the voiceover in this trailer seems like it's supposed to be coming from the ship, but
maybe.
Apparently there's also like a storyline that gets you to the ship that talks about the experiments that one of the alien races was doing that resulted in these ships. And then there's also a bunch of new shit out in the universe. There's like some outer space dinosaur bones and like power stuff. And Michael, when we were watching this, said that this game is just like unrecognizable.
It's completely unrecognizable. Like one of my favorite memes was the Jurassic Park on the kazoo. Because it was because it showed the old E3 trailer. It was this nice, majestic dinosaur. And then it cut to the original release, and it's this janky as fuck dinosaur. And then it turns into the kazoo version of the Jurassic Park theme.
There you go.
But now, look at this thing. It looks completely unrecognizable.
It looks very different. I can never get done applauding them for actually fixing their broken, janky game.
Without asking for buying a Super Street Fighter edition kind of thing.
Yep.
Just it's all just No Man's Sky.
Oh, not just that. I don't know if you know this, but it's on sale. Whenever they put out one of these updates, they put the game on sale.
Yeah, which is fucking crazy.
So there's that too. All right, are you ready for my horrible segue?
Go for it.
Speaking of you want to hear my segue that might be in bad taste, but I think we have to laugh at things in this day and age.
We'll update it in the Royale version. It'll be fine.
Speaking of horrific biological aberrations, we have to talk about the coronavirus a little bit.
It's not that bad.
It's not that bad.
It's pretty good.
It's
actually.
not that bad. I just don't want to. I don't want to be insensitive to. I don't know. I don't want to be insensitive.
It wasn't.
To it.
There were so many worse ways you could have worded it, so you're fine.
Yeah. So Sony has pulled out of both GDC and PAX East and said they're not going to either one of them, and they basically said this was due to fears about the coronavirus.
That's fascinating.
The quote for GDC was, quote, we have made the decision to just cancel our participation in Game Developers Conference due to increasing concerns related to COVID-19. Sony, we felt that this was the best option as the situation related to the virus and global travel restrictions are changing daily. We were disappointed to cancel our participation, but the health and safety of our global workforce is our highest concern. We look forward to participating in GDC in the future. I think
Where is GDC?
The Game Developers Conference.
Well, where's it at normally?
Oh,
PAX East is Seattle.
I don't remember. I don't know. I don't remember in this article. It doesn't say. So,
that's weird though.
Yeah. The thing is that I think that it's I actually saw a lot of weird. I don't know, Michael. I don't know how much you're on Twitter.
I'm not, luckily.
I'm trying to wean myself off of Twitter, but I still go there. And there's been, I don't know if you know this, but there has been a feud. Did you find out where it was?
The San Francisco.
Okay. There's been a feud going on as information leaks out about the Xbox Series X and the PlayStation 5, where it seems like the PlayStation 5 is going to be slightly less powerful than the Series X. But this has on Twitter, because apparently I clicked on an article one time. Twitter is like, you want to see this? There's a new shitty little console war on Twitter.
Oh God!
And part of the reason that I was aware of this was because Xbox fans on Twitter were like, look at Sony making up excuses why they can't go to PAX. They just don't have any games because they suck. And all you Sony fans are going to feel sorry. You're so stupid when the new console comes out and it's bad. And it's like, guys, this is dumb.
Yeah.
The console wars have been over for a long time.
We've gotten past this point.
You're like those guys on the islands after World War II.
Exactly.
They're just keeping the wars alive. Nobody gives a shit. You play Xbox One games on your PC, and Horizon Zero Dawn is coming to PC. So I don't know what you want.
Yeah.
But
the PC is just laughing at you right now over your power arguments.
Yeah. In any case, I think the thing is that I think that I can understand, because the whole coronavirus thing, I don't even follow it all that closely, because I don't go anywhere or talk to anyone. So unless the coronavirus literally walks up to my door, I'm probably not getting it. But
it'll be mailed to you. It'll be fine.
Hopefully. Then I have a reason to take a week off.
Oh, jeez.
Ow. In any case, I can see where the situation is developing so rapidly. It might be best just to be like, you know what? We're just going to cancel and everything, but they're already not going to E3, right? So
they should just Nintendo Direct it.
Yeah.
Just steal everything.
Yeah. I mean, there's actually other stuff that I don't think anybody has I don't think we've ever talked about on this show, but I know it's been out there. The Switch supply is supposed to be in danger of running out, essentially, because of coronavirus. The release of the Outer Worlds on the Switch, some of the Switch stuff that's kind of been in China is not
that's fascinating
coming. There was a gaming tournament that was supposed to happen there that's been moved to Korea instead. I mean, it's like
it's changing a lot of stuff.
It's
a very intense situation right now.
Yeah. So, all right. Let's go from Sony not doing things to a happier story about Sony. At least happy for you and I,
yes.
Michael.
No, of course. I got a huge grin on my face the second I saw the headline.
I don't know if you know this, but there was this weird... Kojima put out this really, really, really weird trailer last week on Twitter for Death Stranding that was like in the style of the trailer for the movie 1917. And it's mostly, I think, parts of the game that we've seen before.
Yeah. This is the trenches section.
If you listen to it, it's like it's done very much in the style of that 1917 movie. Some of this, though, looks different than anything that I saw in the trenches version that I saw before. Nobody's entirely sure. It ends with like 2020 instead of 1917 coming down.
Yeah.
That's it. That's all we got. Nobody's entirely sure whether this is like getting psyched for the PC release or whether there's actual new content coming to the PlayStation release.
Yeah.
Or like what in the fuck is going on?
What does it mean?
And unfortunately, because it's Hideo Kojima, we'll never know.
We won't know until it happens.
Right.
And that's a maybe.
Right. I'm hoping for new content.
I am too.
I mean,
I'm hoping for the ability to listen to music while walking.
I'd rather have new content than the PC version because I'm not going to buy the PC version because my PC isn't good enough to play the PC version.
I would be very interested in the mods at minimum.
What if we could put Dr. Albert Schnitzel into Death Stranding? Do you think I could get Jason to play all of Death Stranding?
Probably.
Do you think if I tricked him, like at the end of Red Dead Redemption 2, and I was like, dude, they just put out this brand new update for Red Dead 2. It's so weird. He goes into the future, and there's ghosts. It's
crazy.
Weird.
Shit's nuts.
We told him we play all of it. We got to play all of it, Jason. Jason
it's their undead nightmare or whatever.
Just punch me in the face and then leave. Right on. Okay, so from a franchise that Michael and I are very excited about, let's go to a franchise that Michael and I are also very excited about, which is Super Smash Brothers.
Yes.
But this is maybe not the best thing that everybody wants to hear, and that is basically that at the end of the season 2 of characters, that's it for Smash Brothers.
I'm not too upset about that, as long as Volume 2 isn't just all Fire Emblem characters.
Yeah.
Because fuck, I'm done with Fire Emblem characters, guys.
Season 1 wasn't.
Please stop.
I mean, Season 1 was a good mix.
No, it was a good mix.
Banjo-Kazooie.
That's what I'm saying. As long as Season 2, because that's the thing is, it's people. If people are upset, at the idea that the DLC's ending,
yeah,
it's like just make sure the characters are still like enough more interesting people, kind of thing. But at this point, it's ever anybody's game. I'm curious.
You know what? Look, I am not immune to the idea of being really excited about video games. However, there are a lot of fucking characters in Smash Brothers, and they're adding 10 more over the course of these two season passes. Like, Smash Brothers fans, I know, but seriously, you have a lot of motherfucking game to play, okay?
That's true.
Like,
I got my guy.
No game lasts forever. And they're not putting Sora in the game, so just you need to stop.
You got to stop asking Michael Eisner.
You got to stop about that.
Michael Eisner's tired of telling you he has no control over that.
So yeah, Sakurai came out and told Famitsu that the next 6 fighters will be the last, and that after that he's going to go do something else, not make a new Smash Bros. Game. There's probably will not be another Smash Bros. Game for this console. So
which is fine. It's a massive game.
Yes.
So
there's
been one on every console at this point. Or since the GameCube? Since the 64.
Yeah, 64, GameCube, Wii U, and Switch.
Yeah.
You count the Wii U version?
Well, because this is just like another version of that one.
Yeah, except that this one's good and the Wii U version sucks.
No, the Wii U one's fine. It's just it doesn't have a story mode and all that stuff.
I want the story mode. The story mode is what made it good. In other fighting game news, we also got a one-word tweet from Ed Boon, a picture of Spawn that says... next.
Yeah.
And so
he's very excited.
Yep.
Because they said he was going to come out in March, but they never gave a specific date.
Yeah. So
but, I'm curious. They said they got the voice from the HBO show to do it.
Okay.
Can't remember. He's the guy from Saints Row 4 and They Live and all that.
Yep.
Can't remember his name off the top of my head.
It's fine. Spawn is fine.
He's the most 90s thing in existence.
A lot of people have a lot of really strong feelings for Spawn. I had a lot of really strong feelings for Spawn when the comic was being released, and I read it for like 3 or 4 years, and then I realized that McFarlane had no fucking idea what he was doing, and so I threw the comic against the wall, and I said, "You've got no fucking idea what you're doing, McFarlane!"
They made it to 300.
Yep. I stopped reading it probably 25 or something like that. So I remember when Cerberus showed up for no reason in that book, and it was just like, here's Dave Sims' weird aardvark Conan in Spawn.
I'm trying to figure out what's going on in the tweet under this. Or it's not a tweet. I think it's a comment.
It's just a gif of people fighting. 2
children fighting each other to the death for some reason.
Yeah, somebody in this tweet, somebody responded saying, add Aya Brea from Parasite Eve, the main character for Parasite Eve, and I'm just like, good luck with that, my friend.
Yeah, that would be what? Huh.
Yeah.
I haven't heard of that character in ages.
In any case, we now...
I always thought Spawn's design was cool, though, but I'll give it that.
I don't know. Man, those big panels, I don't think they look good. And the chain... anyway, all right, we're not going down the Spawn road. And instead of talking about Spawn, let's talk about space. They both start with Space. Because we got some trailers. PAX East is apparently dropping some trailers. I don't know. Apparently next week is when the big stuff is, and there's going to be some big stuff. But we got a trailer for Hard Space Shipbreaker, which is from the people who made Deserts of Karak, that homeworld expansion.
Oh, okay.
And it looks like a pretty weird game where you're like in space cutting up spaceships and like space stations for parts and dragging the parts to a place.
You're like a scrapper.
Yeah. Except you work for a big corporation. It kind of feels like it has like a Journey to the Savage Planet anti-corporation type of thing going on.
Yeah, it hints the idea that you have a debt to them.
Yeah. And they like charge you if you die.
It's Tom Nook, he wants that house money.
Wants that 98,000 bells, man.
Yeah.
Anyway, it looks really interesting. I think we both agreed that I need to play this to know if it's any fun. Though.
Yeah, like it looks like it's got a great concept and a great little idea, but whether or not it's fun is really what it comes down to.
Yep. Speaking of great concepts, we had another one from PAX that was for this game called Other Side, which was this very black and white kind of, I don't know, man. This reminded me of like 8 different things. It reminded me of Agony and Bloodborne and like some Souls-alikes that I played over the years.
Little Devil May Cry stuff here and there.
Yep.
I don't really know what's going on.
White-haired protagonist fighting demons.
Yeah.
Seems like it could be an action
guns
game.
And swords.
But there's not a lot of action in this trailer. It's mostly just a lot of moody talking.
An Other Side could be maybe a pun on Mother's Side. I don't know. It's crazy.
Matricide?
This shit's insane, guys.
Yeah, it looks really strange. It's very hard to... I dig the weird-looking monsters.
Yeah.
And I dig the big swords. I mean, I don't know, man. Big swords, weird-looking monsters.
Well, I need to see what the actual gameplay is.
Flowing red scarf like the Shinobi from that one PS2 game.
I don't remember the name of it. It probably was Shinobi, to be honest.
Yeah. Or the second one, maybe it was?
Maybe?
Or was it a Strider game? We had a little big red thing that was going on.
Well, Strider does have that. I know that.
I don't know. One of those. And then finally on the trailer front, we didn't get a lot of trailers because they were already covered in the other stuff, but we got a trailer for Desperados 3. I'm a big fan of Westerns. I don't know why they don't make more Western video games because
I don't know on that.
The Wild West was a violent place. You kind of tell whatever story you want to.
Like game-wise, you think it would be more. Like I get why movie-wise it's not a thing all that much anymore. But Red Dead showed that like people were like the idea of Western games.
Yeah. But you know what? I think the dirty little secret is that like I think Red Dead 2 did worse than GTA 5. I mean, it did amazing, but it didn't sell like GTA 5 did.
It's at this point I think of the issues that the online that GTA has is the main reason.
I don't know. I don't remember breaking the. I feel like I would have had a story if Red Dead 2 had broken that one-day sales record that GTA 5 made.
Well, people were really excited for another GTA.
Yeah,
and people's excitement for Red Dead, especially since it's a prequel, might have lessened some of it.
I don't know. In any case, this Desperados 3 game is one of those like Shadow Tactics or Commando style kind of like top-down tactic stealth games. I think it looks great. I
think it looks like a good version of whatever these games are.
Yep.
I was never very good at any of these, so
totally want to play it. Well, then, if you aren't very good at these sorts of games, you will probably not be very good at Empire of Sin, which unfortunately has been delayed.
Oh, boy.
But not out of 2020. It was supposed to come out spring, and now it's going to be coming out later in 2020. I don't know if you know what this game is.
Isn't it John Romero's thing again?
It's John Romero's
comeback
daughter's game.
Oh.
That is a that is based on a book called Empire of Sin, and it's like an XCOM style tactics gangster game set in like I think it's a fictitious city in the like 1920s or 30s or something like that.
Neat.
It's real weird, and I want to play it real bad. Also, I want to see if it's just terrible because I'm a big fan of these like tactics games.
Oh, okay. Big fan of John Romero. Said no one in the past 20 years.
Yeah, I don't know. I think he's just helping.
Well, he's probably just helping, to be honest.
Also, how hard
he's
is
using his name to get some stuff out there.
How hard is it to make an XCOM game? All right, let's finish up with a real quick lightning round. So, Detention and Devotion, the horror games put out by Red Candle. Detention, which exists, and Devotion, which existed until it got pulled from the Steam page and is probably never coming back, have basically been preserved. There is a library. I had no idea what this is. It's called the Harvard Yenching Library, which is
That's fascinating.
repository of information from Eastern culture. But this one is located in the United States, and apparently a copy of both of their games will be kept in that library. So at least you can say that there will be like an official record that this game existed.
That's weird.
I might take this as Michael, I'm gonna say this out loud. I don't give a fuck. I might take this as an opportunity to go fucking pirate that game because it's all over torrent websites.
Oh yeah,
you could totally get a ripped copy of it. And like, I would love to give Red Candle Games my money, but I don't think that they're going to give me the opportunity to give me like maybe if I buy a second copy of Detention and then pirate Devotion, that'll be morally okay.
It's like paying them.
I want to play the game, but I also am tired of waiting for the Chinese government to get its fucking Winnie the Pooh panties out of a twist or some bullshit joke, you fucking jack-offs.
Bunch of weird shit going on.
Oh no, the Rage Psych podcast is blocked in China. Shit.
Yeah.
Fuck them. Anyway, I got three different stories here that are basically things are going to be announced. So get ready.
Go on.
1, Platinum Games is making an announcement this coming week.
I'm sure it's Wonderful 101 related.
Nope. They had this whole thing that was called 4 that's on their website.
So Wonderful 104 is what you're saying.
4 different things that will be announced.
Oh, okay.
The Wonderful 101 Kickstarter was the first one.
Oh, okay.
The second one will be coming next week. It could be, they're talking about, last week we talked about how they're going to be doing the potentially self-publishing from here on out. So,
which I think is maybe a good idea. We'll see how it plays out.
Yes,
if that's really what they're going for.
Because they have 2 games in the pipeline right now. They have that one like really kind of muted like a third-person action adventure game, and then they have like a more just traditional-looking fantasy action adventure game.
I think so. I don't know if any of them have been canceled.
Yeah,
I know originally they were working on something for Microsoft, but that was one of the big
Scalebound.
things.
Yeah,
it got canceled. So,
also, Yacht Club is going to be revealing some new stuff.
Ooh, cool.
I'm kind of ambivalent about like if you're going to put out a fifth Shovel Knight expansion because there are already 4 of them. But you know what? I kind of loved all of them, so I don't.
They're good at what they do so far.
But what I'm actually really more excited about is Cyber Shadow, which was that Ninja Gaiden game that they're making.
Oh,
that actually they're not making, but they're publishing it. So I'm really interested to see more about that because that game last time there was a Ninja Gaiden style game. It was called The Messenger, and it was amazing and it was wonderful.
Great.
And you should go play.
I need to finish it.
Yep. And finally, we're finally going to see some Baldur's Gate 3 gameplay.
Oh, yeah.
From Larian, who made Divinity Original Sin 2 that was announced last year at E3, which I'm sure will make some people just stupid happy.
Like Spawn.
Yes. Finally, let's finish up with a few fun things. Kingdom Hearts 3, we got our February Game Pass lineup.
Oh, okay.
So the 25th or the 20th last week saw...
Take a drink, guys. We're talking about the Game Pass.
Xbox... Hey, man, we almost spent the entire first segment. Xbox 360 version of Ninja Gaiden 2 came out last week. This next coming Tuesday, Kingdom Hearts 3... Wasteland Remastered and 2 Point Hospital are all coming, which is a pretty good lineup.
That's not a bad lineup.
Wednesday, Yakuza 0. And then on February 27th, the Jackbox Party 3 is going to be on there as well.
Oh, cool. Those things are very popular, those Jackbox games.
The other thing about the Jackbox Pack 3 is that I think they're up to 6 now. So
yeah, they're up to 6, I think,
or 7. I don't.
But every single one of them has like a different series of different games, though. So sometimes you have to go back to one of the other ones for one of those games.
Yep. And then let's see. Ruiner is coming soon to the Nintendo Switch. Which was that kind of like weird top-down cyberpunk action game.
Oh, okay. I was trying to remember what that game was.
With like the red, the face mask that said like words on it. Yeah. It was kind of like a top-down action game. I really love Ruiner. I just never beat it. All right, let's finish up with some Red Dead news. Actually, some kind of fun stuff from Red Dead. First off, there was a video that was up on Reddit of this is the single player game of Red Dead with Arthur Morgan walks out of a bar and one NPC starts like razzling him and then eventually starts fighting him. And when he starts fighting him, you can actually see another NPC way in the background just fucking runs up.
Oh my God.
Stops, walks up behind the NPC that Arthur is fighting and fucking stabs him in the neck and then just puts his knife away and walks away for no reason.
Oh my God. That's amazing.
Now, I kind of love it because this is the kind of dumb shit that happens in Rockstar games where some piece of code, some AI gets flipped in the wrong direction.
Yeah.
And it's like suddenly everybody's trying to figure out why the fuck this happened. The closest that anybody has found out is at the very beginning of the clip when Arthur walks out of the bar, he opens the door the wrong way. He puts his arms crossed in the wrong way when he's opening up the door.
Oh, because of the okay.
And they think that might indicate that there's some weird glitch quirk going on here that did this, but it's a pretty fun little segment.
I love that idea though, because he's way the fuck out there.
Yep.
Kind of thing. And he just starts running.
As soon as the fight starts, he just runs up and then he stops and then he walks up behind the guy that Arthur's fighting and just fucking brutally stabs him. And
I
then
think
he doesn't do anything else.
Part is he super murder stabs the guy.
And then he just walks off. And then it's not until that point, if you watch it with the sound, that the NPCs all start going crazy.
That's amazing.
Yep.
Holy shit.
We also got a story last week where somebody has modded hot coffee into Red Dead Redemption 2.
Oh my God.
So there's a scene in Red Dead Redemption 2 where Lenny, where you're looking for Lenny, and you break into a room and there are two people having sex.
And if you go back, they're Lenny.
Right.
Which is so weird.
He took the animation of those two people having sex and then mapped Arthur and some of the NPC prostitutes onto that situation.
Jeez.
They don't take their clothes off, so it's real weird. And you can walk up to him, and he's modded in a new thing, so you can talk to them. Then you go up to a room, and then it plays out. And there's like apparently there's no pleasure noises, so all of Arthur's noises are the grunts and like combat barks. So apparently it's very not. I couldn't find a video for it. It's very unerotic and not very interesting. The interesting thing is that apparently Take-Two and Rockstar approached this modder. And they said that the mod violates the code of conduct as well as a host of other legal violations to the person who made the fucking mod.
Oh my God.
Not anybody else. Not the person that made the Thomas the Tank Engine mod or like any of these. Apparently it's the fucking mod. And as this guy pointed out, the guy who made this mod said, quote, "I was a bit surprised and didn't expect Take-Two to worry about a single-player mod this much. I find it crazy how Rockstar Games can add hookers to their games, but when someone uploads a mod, not even of the same quality, it's suddenly inappropriate."
Oh, my God.
Yep. And
That's
last
amazing.
but not least, if you're looking for a mod to brighten your day, if you're looking for a slightly less horny mod, some geniuses have taken the BB-8 in Star Wars Battlefront 2 and replaced it with a Baby Yoda that instead of it's in the little carriage, so instead of BB-8 rolling around, it's Baby Yoda flying around in his little thing and zip-zapping stormtroopers to death in Battlefront 2.
This is now my second favorite Battlefront 2 mod.
Oh, yeah?
The first being
the
Matt,
sex mod?
the radar technician mod.
Oh, okay.
They turned him into his Kylo Ren into his SNL skit.
Oh, right. Yeah. And so that's it. That's all we got for this week. We had some Yoda, we have some Star Wars, we had some Final Fantasy, but we still got questions.
Oh God, the way he dies though.
Still have questions left to go. Everybody, stick around, and we'll be back in just a minute for questions. back. Michael, are you ready for questions?
Sure.
Are you prepared for questions?
Perhaps.
Oh, good. Okay, maybe not.
I just realized what I watched. Sorry, keep going.
We'll see what questions we got. Mail@radioseg.com is the email address to send your questions into. And our first question this week comes in from GT. GT says, hey, Jeff and Michael, hopefully I typed the address correct and this reaches you. You did. Good job. A long-time listener, you said you're running low on questions, so I decided to help you out. One, I'm in a writer's group and recently had a piece of mine read. Nobody treated me badly, but I got a lot of critiques, and it sat my will to keep working on that particular piece. I don't want to be sensitive, so how should I handle criticism better? Is it arrogant for me to ignore advice if I don't think it is in line with my particular vision for my work? And two, you guys are talking about Mass Effect, which is my favorite game series of all time. I absolutely loved every single Mass Effect game and expansion, including Andromeda. What are some games or properties that you think would make for good Mass Effect-style RPGs with the wheel and everything? My number one video game wish would be a Neon Genesis game with Mass Effect-style gameplay where you build a character and an EVA and spend most of the game getting to know the characters between missions. Hope this helps. That's from GT. I actually think there's been a whole bunch of games that are like that.
They try.
There was like that, what was that, Iron-Blooded Girlfriend or whatever, there was that one Evangelion game that had a really weird title.
Oh.
It was on the PS2 that was only in Japan.
Yeah, I don't remember the name of it. Yeah.
It was a tactical game.
You were the one who told me about it, because I can't remember what it was.
Yeah, I was really trying hard at one
it
point.
It had plot points that weren't in the anime or something.
Dude,
that's what you told me.
Oh my god! When I the last time I went back to Evangelion and I went back to try to actually figure out what the fuck happens in End of Evangelion, and that was when I found out that a lot of the information that you need to know to understand what the fuck is happening at the End of Evangelion is like from games, from this book that people got at like a screening of the thing, from like. Yeah, and then
That's so weird.
There's actually, I don't know if it's Kotaku, but there's somewhere online, it might be GameSpot, where there's a guy who sits down and goes over the timelines of Evangelion.
Oh my god.
Because there's so many different spin-off games, and there's so many different spin-off mangas where it's like, there's like one whole manga where it's like, it's just a slice of life manga where all the main characters are in high school and there aren't any robots or anything.
Huh.
And then there's like the sequel to that manga, and then there's like the game that was based on that manga, and then there's like,
wow.
So there's a lot of weird shit in the Evangelion universe, including a lot of games. I think a lot of it comes back to the whole, when you look at the history of it, the way that the end of the show was rushed and they ran out of money and production time and things like that.
I guess that makes some sense.
So then Anno wanted to like continue the story in other places, but then they all started spinning off into crazy shit. Anyway, as far as critique, I think that critique is a hard thing to do well. When I was in art school, I feel like we had that there's a difference between like criticism is difficult.
Yeah.
And doing constructive criticism well is actually a skill. Like it's not just saying, well, that sucks.
Yeah.
You know.
You can't walk up to a guy who's either written something or drawn something and be like, yeah, I just think it's terrible.
Yeah.
It's like, well, that's not constructive because you're not telling him what you think is bad about it.
Yes.
If you're just like, well, I thought the line work was kind of bad, or I thought this sentence didn't make any sense.
Yes.
That kind of thing. That's constructive criticism.
Mm-hmm.
But if you just walk up to somebody and you're like, you're fucking awful, and then just walk away, then you can't learn anything from that.
Yeah, it's why I spend a lot of time. Michael's run into this a little bit. Anybody who talks with me outside of the microphone probably has run into this a little bit. I will spend a lot of time like mentally gnawing on like why I don't like a game.
Oh yeah,
like
of course.
or a character or a movie or a song or like a TV show or whatever. Especially when it's like something that a lot of other people like. I want to spend a lot of time just going like, why didn't this work for me? And really drilling down into like what do I want and what did this do, and then how do those things not line up, and et cetera, et cetera. So I think that a lot of times, and when I was in art school, like I said, I ran into this a lot, people just kind of gut react to stuff. Now, there is, I read this, okay, this is so hard to do because if you're trying to produce something, it's like you do need feedback, but I was reading this, I've talked about this in the last couple podcasts, this game design book that was talking about like when you make a game and how like you need to have kind of slowly widening circles of people to test your game. And there's always like when you're doing a prototype for a game, you need there's a huge amount of value in like somebody who hasn't ever played it before playing it for the first time.
Yeah.
And so like the people that test your early version of a game are going to give you feedback, but you can't use them like later on because you need somebody who's never seen it before to come in and give you the first eyes idea, as opposed to somebody who's coming in who's seen it before, and they're looking at it more of like an evolutionary thing instead of just like what is the direct reaction, because an alpha build of a game may just be like totally wireframes, and
it could just be like nonsense.
I mean, in this game design book, like they said that just about every game, or a lot of games that can facilitate it, you want to start with like a paper version. You want to start with like a tabletop version to kind of work on the rules. And that you have to like reserve some people to look at it. None of this is helpful, by the way, to this question. As far as actually,
it's a little helpful depending on what you use out of it.
Yeah, I think that a lot of it is it's hard. It's very difficult. I think that when I didn't run into this when I was in like school, but I did run into it when I would like show my friends things that I drew, and I had some friends that were just like, eh. And I was like, I spent like 8 hours drawing that.
They're like, like, do you have anything other than
but it just kind of looked shitty. Like, okay, thank you.
It's no Walt Disney. It's like, it's not supposed to be.
Yeah. I think that so I think that what you might be able to do, a couple things for the actual thing. First off, is I think that if you're not in you're not on the internet, right? You're talking to people face to face. So I think that there can be a dialogue where if somebody says, I don't think that X thing worked, you can say, well, my plan was for this thing to eventually do this. What do you think about that? Or what is it specifically that you don't think works about that? Like, let's get into the very much the details of, where it was the sentence structure too long? Is it the plot points? You don't think that this character worked out as well. Some of that is important to listen to. It really just depends on who's doing the critiquing. Like, I honestly think that you should have people. I think that there's both value in having people critique you who know you and people who don't know you.
Yeah.
But what I also think is really important is having somebody in your corner. Follow C. Robert Cargill on Twitter.
Okay.
Like you need somebody who's just like no matter what you do, who could just say, you can do it. You got this. Do it.
It's like the fact that you got as far as you did is already amazing.
Yes.
Like he consistently says stuff like that.
Yes.
All the time to people on Twitter, or just out loud, just randomly.
Yeah.
Kind of thing. Because he likes to what's the word I'm looking at?
Encourage creativity.
Yeah, encourage writing, like, more than anything. Like, even if it's just any kind of writing, really.
Yeah.
And the thing about critiquing is like that I do agree with is the fact that it's like it all depends on what feedback you're getting.
Yes.
If it's feedback that's just like, as we said, it's just going, well, I just didn't think this made any sense. Well, that's not really feedback. You're just saying things.
Mm-hmm.
But if you give me something specific, you tell me maybe the sentence structure was weird, maybe the dialogue sounded kind of stiff, that kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
Then if that's the kind of criticism you're getting, then it's easy to take and work with. But if you feel like they're criticizing your story in a way that you're like, well, that's not the way I want it to go.
Yes.
Like you mentioned, you can explain where you said it was going to see if maybe this is a setup that makes sense to them now.
Right.
Kind of thing. And if it doesn't make sense, then maybe look at your setup and maybe change it a little bit to get to where you want to go.
Yeah.
And maybe that's the actual thing is the issue. And like you mentioned with the games, like not every game or writing or anything is what it turns out to be at the end. I always bring up, I know I just talked about God of War, but the alpha build of God of War, one of the Sony heads, I think it was like a vice president or something, played the alpha build of God of War and was very, very scared that it was going to be a horrible, horrible game from that build. And turns out that's not what happened at all.
Yep.
But that's just where you're at. You're essentially in your alpha of your writing kind of thing. Like, I would ask each person for more criticism to see what you're getting the most of.
Yeah.
And then work on that part more than anything.
I would say that like on the flip side, there is if you getting feedback from other people is good in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
I mean, sometimes
it's a double-edged sword. Is really what it comes down to.
And so I don't think that you maybe want to like discount everything. The main thing is I feel like a lot of people don't really entirely they don't know how to critique things very well. Or
it's difficult because everyone has their own thoughts of what something should be.
Right.
Is purely what it comes down to. It's like if I came up to somebody and I said, "This is my ideal version of a secret agent kind of thing," and I started like explaining things. Mine might sound closer to Archer, or somebody might sound closer to James Bond, or closer to fucking the Mission Impossible people, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Everyone has a specific ideal version of something, and that's what makes critiquing something like that so difficult.
Now, if you received a lot of critique, here's one thing that you can do. You can try to tap into your inner ornery streak and be like, well, fuck you guys. I'm going to make this the best goddamn story you've ever seen. I'm going to come back in 3 weeks with this motherfucker rewritten, and I'm going to be like, check this shit out. They're going to be like, oh, it's going to be like that gif of all the people behind that one kid, and then the guy comes to the front with the O face.
It could totally be that.
Yeah.
Or you can go full Bender and you're like, fuck you guys. I'll make my own story with blackjack and hookers.
It's also worth, if you're not feeling it, though, it can also be worthwhile to put something down and do something else. That's the important part.
Yeah.
Is you can always come
back. You don't
back.
stop, basically. You just stop that specifically.
As Cargo will tell you online, and then earlier this advice came from my dad. Everything, and it's just general advice for life, right, is that you get better at a thing you do, right? So you can write your book in your head 1,000,000 times, but the way that your book or your comic or your blog or whatever it is going to be good is if you sit down and do it. And even if it's not good, you got to do it. Like I have reams of paper of bad drawings, and I'm not even very good at drawing, or I'm okay. I'm low medium, but like I have reams and reams and reams of just like they're like phone book paper pads full of gesture drawings that are just kind of. I mean, we used to do this. I took this class called Drawing for Animation, and that class is about how to draw fast. So it would be like we had a model every day, and we have a big stack of paper. Everybody would line up we had a big circle that was around the model in the middle that was modeling, and we have a piece of paper or like a ream of paper, like just computer paper. It'd be like, okay, here's what we're doing. You have 90 seconds to draw this person. Go. And you'd be like, and then stop. And you put that aside and be like, all right, we're putting back to 90 seconds. Go again.
Oh, geez.
And we would just do that. And the thing is that over the course of one class, which was about an hour long, we'd start at 90 seconds. We'd go to 60 seconds. We'd go to 45 seconds. We'd go to 30 seconds. And I remember we got to 30 seconds, like the first day, I was like, how much should we draw in 30 seconds? He's like, the whole model. I want a finished picture in 30 seconds. And I was like, you're an insane person. But like that's kind of an accelerated way to do fast to just do like you're just doing the stuff over and over again.
Of course.
You get better at things with repetition. And so doing even just the act of writing, whether it's a short story or a novel or a comic or whatever, writing over and over and over again will make you better.
It's like what Jake from Adventure Time says. Sucking is the first step at getting kind of good at something.
Yes. Just don't remember that nobody started, very few people started out as perfect at a thing. Most people practice in order to get better at a thing.
Yeah, it's not like Alex Ross could draw super realistic Superman and Spider-Man like the second he started drawing. That wasn't a thing.
Oh, you said Alex Ross and my brain heard Bob Ross, and I was like, Bob Ross didn't draw Spider-Man, did he? I would watch that episode where it's just like
put a little happy little spider on his chest,
a happy little web over here. There's just a little web coming in from the side. Let's just connect it up to Peter
I'd
Parker.
watch that. I'd watch that so bad.
I would watch the hell out of that.
Be amazing.
In any case, those are some things. In some cases, it's also very difficult. I know for a fact it is very difficult. When somebody critiques a thing that you did, especially if it's a passion project, not to take it kind of personally.
Yeah, it's tough. But just in general, like, because I when I was taking film courses at the ACC, I'd write something that I had a lot of, like, I loved what I had written kind of thing. People were like, well, this doesn't make any sense, and this sequence shouldn't happen here, and maybe this would work better if this happened.
Right.
And I was just like, but then I'd be like, okay, that's constructive. Like, you're giving me something.
Yeah.
I'll think about it. And then, I critiqued it, or I changed it enough to where some of it probably worked better the way they probably thought, and just worked better in general. Mm-hmm. And that's what you really take from it, is that you look at what they've given you, and you don't have to run with everything they give you.
Yeah.
That's just the thing. Like, So just take what you think is a really good idea, or maybe even look at what they said, and maybe look at it a different way, and maybe it might make your stuff even better. You never know.
Yeah. Or if you got, put it aside and start something new. The main thing is just don't stop. That's the main thing. Do not stop under any circumstances. Keep writing.
As for your second answer, I would want a Gundam game like that.
Ooh, saucy. That's actually a really good answer. For some reason, the first thing that came to my mind was Resident Evil.
Actually, that would be pretty cool.
Where you could have like a branching story structure where, maybe you're friends with these people. You're doing Albert Wesker's loyalty mission because he's a good guy. He'll never turn bad.
Yeah. I love his sunglasses. Yeah. He's a great dude.
Yeah, he's so cool.
He's blonde and he doesn't afraid of anything.
Maybe you could do one that was like a prequel game that was like before Umbrella kind of became shitty, like when they were first starting to do biotech development, and maybe you could be like part of the like what was the squad that like Hunk and Carlos are part of, I
don't remember the name.
The Umbrella
of it,
fast response guys or whatever.
I don't remember the names of them, but yeah. I didn't really play 3 all that much because they're mentioned more in 3 than they are in anything else.
Yeah, except for the Umbrella Chronicles or no wait the Raccoon City, Operation
Raccoon City.
There you go.
That fucking game.
With those four individual characters with their own special hero powers.
I tried doing the end. I tried getting the murder Leon ending, but he is so hard to kill.
Yeah.
So I just gave up. I was like, fine. I'll do the normal Resident Evil 2 ending.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of anything else. I mean, it kind of goes back, GT, to my standard answers here, which is like, I mean, any game could be good. Like,
yeah, to be honest, any game or a lot of games would work pretty well. A lot of properties would work really well, because like Chew or something.
Yeah,
kind of thing. I think would be great that way, or Invincible, something like that.
Yeah, I'm just trying to think. It's like it's like a third-person shooter, and then some RPG elements of kind of custom.
A Final Fantasy game like that would be neat.
Yeah, well. I don't know. I long for the days when Final Fantasy is turn-based.
No, but I mean like the dialogue, though. Like, dialogue-wise would be great. Like everything else still, normal Final Fantasy.
I played recently that had dialogue trees in it that was weird that it had dialogue trees in it.
Was it
Speaking
Anthem?
Simulator? No, it was something recently where it... oh, no, I was looking at that new game that People Can Fly is making, which I've already forgotten the name of.
I don't know.
They showed off a whole shitload of it last week, and it's like a third-person kind of Anthem-y online game, but it's got a lot of like kind of cover-based shooting Gears mechanics, because that's been what they've been doing for a long time. But then it's also got all these like superpowers.
Oh, that's right. Shit, I don't remember the name of it because we talked about it.
Yep,
I don't remember.
Looks pretty cool.
It looks cool.
So, all right, our next question comes in from Danny, the bespectacled gamer. Danny the Bespectacled Gamer says, "Hello, friends. Danny the Bespectacled Gamer here with a question about cooking. I've had a casual interest in cooking for a while, but I've never been very adventurous. So over the holidays, I gave in to one of the many online ads and signed up for one of those meal delivery services just to see what was up with that. Almost all of them start with a discount so deep that you feel like you're getting free food, but after a couple of weeks, you realize that you're probably paying double what you would at a grocery store for the convenience of a box being delivered to your door. All the recipes do tend to be very tasty. Couple quick questions. What are your thoughts on food by mail? Where do you look for culinary inspiration to cook outside your comfort zone? And have you cooked anything interesting lately? Thanks for all you do. I've recently become a patron because I wanted to help keep the lights on and keep the rage on. As always, you've been bespectacled. Have a great day." From Danny the Bespectacled Gamer. Have you ever done any of those Blue Apron, HelloFresh motherfuckers?
No, I worked under one.
Oh.
Because the place I worked at doing call center stuff for Nest, they were right above us.
Okay.
And I heard that they had a kitchen up there that they actually were given the recipes and stuff for that they could cook up there.
Okay.
But I've heard plenty of podcasts and people talk about using Blue Apron. There's a couple other ones that I can't remember the names of right off the top of my head. Blue Apron's the most famous one.
What's that place that would send you weird snacks? Are they still around? Remember that one that would give you like sracha cashews?
As far as I know, I think they're still around.
Okay. I don't even remember the name of it.
But a lot of that stuff you could just get at like World Market kind of thing, to be honest.
Yeah.
But the
curated box of a thing that I could just buy at the store.
Curated box of snacks, the movie or whatever that BoJack Horseman did. What happened was what I think is interesting about Blue Apron, as you said, is that you're mostly paying for the convenience of the recipe having everything you need right away. And I think it's a nice idea if you have the kind of money for that sort of thing and don't have time to go to, or if your grocery store isn't exactly like our HEBs out here, because our HEBs are fucking like they have everything. God damn, I love them. But,
I went to the other HEB to go to the doctor. I went to the HEB up there.
They have doctors at HEBs.
And they took my blood and sent it off to the vampires to test. And then I went and picked up one of their pre-made salads, and it was fucking amazing. It was a giant
HEB
salad.
So much. You guys who don't live in Texas or don't live in the southernish part of Texas, because North Texas doesn't have them. Those poor bastards.
It's so amazing. It's so amazing. Anyway, I'm sorry.
I almost forgot my train of thought. No, I think the idea is nice on paper, because I've spoken to people who've gotten their interest in cooking more and more because they're trying things they never would have tried, because you're paying for something and now you feel like you have to use it. And then, because that's honestly what it really comes down to, is that you have the feeling of you have to do this specific recipe.
Show.
And it will help in, broaden your horizons. But what he was saying, if you specifically want to just try out maybe more new recipes, there are plenty of cookbooks out there. They're fucking all over the goddamn place.
Motherfucker. Okay, here's the thing. Bon Appetit's YouTube channel is like, some of it is Claire Saffitz making Pop-Tarts from scratch, but then some of it's just like, we took one of the recipes from the magazine and we're just going to make it here.
Yeah.
And then like, here's a link to the recipe. So you can just go look at the recipe online.
Exactly.
So
like, honestly, I think it's a good starting point, because it gives you the motivation to try these things, because there's plenty of people out there who say, I'm going to make this thing, and they get the recipe and then they never do it because they just didn't bother buying the stuff. kind of thing. And that's all it comes down to, is like, you need the motivation to go from there. I think it's a good idea, like I said, because it gets people started on it. But
I think somebody was telling me recently how expensive it is, and I think it's fucking ridiculous how expensive it is. I think that I mean, it's like he said that you're paying almost double. I think you're paying like quadruple.
You're paying quite a bit.
Like for like a couple of pieces of meat and some vegetables and some spices, right? Here's the thing. I mean, okay, if you don't have HEB, I know that I don't have a good perspective on this shit, because I do have this fucking 2 massive
they're everywhere
stores, and they've got just everything. Like
if one HEB doesn't have it, the other one's going to have it, and they're 20 minutes from each other.
Yeah. And they're open until 1:00 in the morning.
Exactly.
And like,
they're the fucking best guys. I'm sorry.
An app that shows you what thing is on what thing. I went to my
bullshit is nothing compared to HEB.
See, there's a time when I would have argued with that, but like I started cooking, and then I went to my parents' house, and then I went to their grocery store, and it was just like a vanilla Kroger in Ohio, and I was like, this place sucks assholes. Look, this place is the worst. I don't even like the way it looks. It looks like it's about to fall over.
The way I discovered it is my brother was living in Fort Worth for a little bit.
Yeah.
And he was like, I need to go grocery shopping. Oh, we're going to go to HEB? He's like, HEB doesn't exist out here. And I felt like I was in the Twilight Zone. I was just like, oh my God, what's happening?
So I think that if you want to cook, I think that you could do a lot better than those places, because here's what I'm going to say. One, the ingredients that the spices and stuff that they give you from Blue Apron, if you have a good grocery store, and if you don't, there's Amazon. Even though I'm not a big fan of Amazon,
it's about the same.
Spices are not that expensive. I mean, I know they're not giving you like black truffle oil in half those things, right? So if you're talking about fucking cayenne pepper and like paprika and shit, like you go to the store and buy a $2 thing of paprika instead of buying like a $50 pack with enough paprika for your fucking chicken that you're making, right?
Yeah.
Like, and then you've got paprika. Then you own a whole thing of paprika. So the next time that your recipe says you're going to need paprika, like when I started, I would go to the store and spend $60 for one recipe, because I'm like, well, I need a colander, and I also need like, I need butter, right? And so I don't have any butter. I'm going to go buy butter because I need the butter. I'm going to buy milk because I don't have any milk. Like, you get these staples, but then as you get into it, you have those things. So you buy the $2 thing of a spice, and then you've got fucking dillweed in your cabinet. You've got sesame seeds in case you need them. You've got like pepper and salt and all that shit, right? So that's one. And then two, as far as finding stuff, I would say, man, okay, listen, first off, Bon Appetit's YouTube channel is amazing. You should totally look at it. Second, you should go watch Binging with Babish, because his shit is way too complicated, but you'll at least be like, spaghetti, huh? Well, I'm not going to gonna grind my own pork that I got from a place to make the meatballs. But you know what? I can look up meatballs on the internet and find a thing to do. You can also follow blogs like Kenji Lopez Alt has a blog, the Food Lab, that's really good. There's a shit ton of them. A lot of times if you search for a specific recipe, one of the nice things that Google does when you search for recipes, it'll show you the star ranking of that recipe, and it'll also show you how many people reviewed it. So if you find like a 4.5 star recipe and 4,000 people have reviewed it, that's probably a good one. Like, you can use that one. And then from there, I think it's just a matter of being like when I started cooking, all I cooked was steak because I knew how to make steak. I'd make steak and then powdered mashed potatoes and like a can of green beans. And then I had like steak and mashed potatoes and green beans. And it's like, you only got to deal with one fucking thing.
Yeah.
And then like you get really good at making steak. And then you're like, well, maybe I can make my mashed potatoes by hand. And then the steak, I got the steak. Yeah. I know how to make a steak.
Down.
Yeah. And so then you just do that. And then as time goes on, and then, you know, you're going to be like, what does it mean when it mean wait till the oil is shimmering and then put it in? And you'll be like, what the fuck does that even mean? And then you look at a YouTube video and they're like, here's how to know when the oil is shimmering. And then you're like, oh, you look at it and it shimmers. It literally shimmers. And then you do that and you're like, great, there it's done. And then that's how you do it. Cook a chicken. Learn how to cook a chicken. Yes. All right. You learn how to cook a chicken and some potatoes.
Chicken is very cheap.
Chicken is cheap. Potatoes are cheap. You will eat forever.
At least it's cheap here. I don't know about where you are.
Yeah. I don't know.
I'd assume it's pretty cheap everywhere.
I assume if you buy like it's all hopped up on antibiotics and like fucking growth hormones, like the non-free range, non-cruelty, like you buy the cruel chicken that's full of drugs, it'll be like $3 for a whole chicken. And you can get like 4 meals out of that. They sell a bag. It's like a 10-pound bag of russet potatoes at HEB for like $2.
Yeah.
Like, come on.
It's kind of amazing.
Cabbage is like 30 cents a pound. Like, you can get a whole head of cabbage for like $1.70. To get like cabbage and potatoes and chicken, have like a weird medieval Irish stew going on or something. I don't
stew going, baby.
Yeah, stew going. So that's what I would suggest. I really don't recommend these guys because I feel like they're really expensive for what you're getting. And the thing is that you're not buying the thing of paprika. So you get enough for your thing. Whereas you might, that spice is good. I'm going to try putting paprika on my steak and see if it's any good. You can't really taste it. It's not very good. But
it's a thing.
I put paprika on my breakfast potatoes. Like what I've actually been making a lot recently is breakfast. Scrambled eggs, and then like roasted potatoes. And a lot of vegan bacon. I've been trying out this weird vegan bacon.
My roommate uses a lot of that. It makes the pans very sticky, though.
Yes. You need a nonstick pan. You need a lot of Pam. Get yourself a can of Pam, Danny. You're going to need a can of Pam. Pam is the best. You just there you go. You got oil on everything. You don't have to worry about like melting butter or anything or wiping a pan. You just like, there, you're done. You got canola oils on everything. Anyway. Next question comes in from Chris. And he says, hey, Jeff and Michael, Chris here. I watched a Rage Suck video last week, and you mentioned how you were watching a documentary or show, and featured in the show were close-ups of spiders. And you mentioned how you could not watch that because it was just freaky. Well, Jeff, I am 100% in agreement with you. I hate spiders. Doesn't matter if it's a picture, movie, real life, video games, etc. Just wondering, why do you hate them? Did you have a traumatic event? Any tips on overcoming your fear? Or my fear? They seriously bother me. Big, small, any type. But when I know it's a fake toy or whatever, I stay the hell away from it in case it comes to life. I don't know if it was a traumatic experience when I was a kid or if it's based on instinctual primal fear. But for me, it's a creature with the primary focus to hunt and kill with way too many legs. But worst of all is his damn eyes. It triggers some mild panic attack because no creature or human should have more than 2 eyes. And it's 4 times that.
Oh, jeez.
Times the paranoia that a spider is near is serious and disturbing for me. I played RE7 in VR mode, and if spiders jumped out at the screen, I probably would have crapped myself. Thanks. Sweet dreams from Chris.
I actually have no issue with spiders.
You have no issue with spiders?
Yeah.
Weirdo.
Well, like, I don't know I don't know what made me not really have issues with them, but I'm actually mostly okay with them.
Yeah.
Except for daddy long legs.
Yeah.
There's just something off about daddy long legs.
But there's like a big rock, and it's just like they got like a million daddy long legs on there.
Yeah, I think that's the only time I've ever been creeped out by one. But even then, I got over that after a while. My roommate is terrified of them, by the way. Like if I play a game and a spider appears, he walks the fuck out of that room.
I don't like them a lot. And I don't like watching videos of them. I especially don't like, because when you watch videos, like this was a nature thing where there was like these like weird little jumping praying mantises.
Oh, okay.
It's called like Kung Fu praying mantis versus spider. And I was like, you have my attention, internet. But the problem is that whenever they shoot like nature stuff with spiders, they always just like, fucking zoom right up on them, and I'm just like, I don't want to see little individual fingers in their mouth going like gross. I don't know if I had a traumatic experience with them. My parents tell this story about how, when I was a baby, it was the late 1970s, early 1980s. So they used to just like fucking put me in the backyard and then just, I don't know, do their business,
do whatever, yeah.
Drink martinis and smoke cigarettes or something. Just let me be running around in the backyard. And they said that there was one day where they came out and I was just holding like a giant spider. Like I was just sitting there just like, and I was just holding this giant spider, and my dad ran out and like slapped the spider out of my hands and picked me up and took me inside. And I'm wondering, because I don't remember it, I was a baby.
Yeah.
But I'm wondering at some sub-psychological level whether I was totally cool with spiders when I was a baby, and then the pain reaction of having an authority figure caused me, and then the scare of being dragged inside and like not knowing what was going on, that just made me like,
It added a spider instinct is what you're saying.
I don't know. But you know what's really weird is I've been playing Metro Exodus.
Uh-huh.
And Metro Exodus has the spiders. I'm using quotey fingers for them. And we noticed this when we were playing the game. It's like there are spider webs, and you slow down when you walk through them, hanging from the ceiling, and you have a lighter. You can take the lighter out, and you can burn up the spider webs. Mm-hmm. And when you do that, a lot of times it shows like a spider walk across your face mask or across your arm or something. And I was like, ugh. And then I was like, but not like for reals, Yeah. And then I realized when I was looking at them that they only have 6 legs, and then a little prehensile scorpion tail.
That's weird.
They only have 6 legs, and you know what? I got no problem with 6-legged creatures.
Yeah,
I let a fucking beetle. I let a beetle sit on my head, or like I would jump into a pool full of praying mantises. I don't give a shit. They're just fucking doing the thing. Like, that's not a good thing because of everybody and the mantis ladies. But I would jump.
Yeah, I was like, I wasn't going to touch that. But okay, sure, go for it.
You know what? In the when it goes from fall to winter in Texas, a lot of times we get the cricket infestations.
Yeah.
I had no problems picking up a cricket with my hands.
They're much more annoying than anything.
Picking up a June bug. Roaches don't bother me. I mean, like, I realize
roaches are the only thing that bother me. But I actually had a traumatic experience with a roach.
They're kind of gross, and I don't want them in my house. But like, they're just bugs. They're just bugs. They don't bite. They're all over the place. There's bugs everywhere.
Yeah.
Like mosquitoes suck. I don't like them. But like,
you don't have that issue with the mosquitoes that most people do, though.
That's very true.
That's the thing. Fuck you and your genetics.
Yeah, for anybody who doesn't know, I don't feel it when mosquitoes bite me.
Yeah,
I'm not allergic to their bites.
Itchy as fuck.
But like wasps, I don't give a shit about wasps. I don't give a shit about bees. Like even the stuff that people have a problem with. I don't like fire ants because they're assholes. But if they wouldn't be assholes, I wouldn't be afraid of them. But if it's got 8 legs, no sir. Because I went to a level in Metro Exodus, and they were the adult versions of those spiders, and they only had 6 legs and a scorpion tail, and I was like, well, that's not scary. That's just a bug.
Yeah, you're not even an actual spider.
Yeah,
at that point.
Yeah,
you're not even an arachnid.
However, I have a really hard time with the beginning of Skyrim VR, because when you're escaping from that village, there's a part where you go down underneath it, and there's a spider cave full of spiders, and you got to kill the spiders, and they're in VR, they're 3-dimensional, and they're coming at me, and they got 8 legs, and I'm like, no. And then when you go get the mask in Skyrim, there's that giant boss spider that's got that guy all wrapped up, and a giant spider comes at me, and I'm just like, nope. So I don't know where it came from. As far as how to overcome your fear, I don't know. Exposure therapy?
Hang out with them, I guess.
Get yourself a pet spider?
Find a guy dressed as Spider-Man and just hang out with him. See how that goes.
I like tarantulas, though. They're not bitey.
Yeah, they're not actually. That's the thing. Most horror movies use tarantulas.
Yeah,
but they're the least likely to ever attack a person.
Yes,
because they don't actually like attacking anything, really.
Yeah. Also, I like
their size to their advantage.
It's one of my favorite facts. It's time to bring it out again. You know the little hairs on the tarantulas?
Uh-huh.
They're not hair. They're hooks. They're tiny little hooks. they grow out and they have a little hook on the end of it, and when a tarantula gets freaked out, it will shed them, and then the predator will breathe them in, and they'll hook into your respiratory system and fuck you all up. And you're just like, and you let the spider go. My other favorite spider fact is: have you ever seen? I believe they're called. God, what are they called? There's these in Iraq. They have these spiders that are like this big.
Oh, the camel spiders.
Camel spiders, and they're gigantic, and they don't bite. And but there's whole things about the U.S. Military personnel over there where they don't bite, but they want to get in the shade because they're desert creatures.
Yeah.
And so they literally follow soldiers, and they would run up to them to try to get in their shadow, and then the soldiers would go, shit, and like go away from them, and then they would keep running into their shadow to the point where I actually read some stuff online about U.S. military personnel who were literally like shooting at these spiders to try to get them the fuck away from them because they're these big motherfuckers. Like they're huge.
If you've ever seen a picture, because the very first time I saw a picture of one, it was a U.S. military guy like holding it.
Yeah,
and it's
was it on the end of the gun? There's like one and another one hanging on to the first one.
Fuck off like huge thing.
Yep.
And then my brother was stationed in Saudi Arabia, and he would talk to people who would like deal with them, and he's like, "Those fucking things are so goddamn annoying."
But like,
they said they're terrifying at first because there's these big fucking things coming at you, but they're not actually coming at you. They want to hang out with you, basically.
Yeah, when I lived in Seattle, I rented a room, and when I first lived there, and the bathroom that I was to use, there was a spider web, and there was a spider there, and I thought that if every day when I went to go take a shower, I had to stand naked, making eye contact with a spider, that it would make me less afraid of spiders. It didn't. It just made me afraid of showering.
Oh, jeez.
So, not that afraid, though. I still shower and shit.
I'd hope so. Just without spiders.
Just not as much. Yeah. Let's see. Let's do one more of these, and then we'll do some Discord questions. Marcus says, "What up, Jeff and Michael? I have become concerned regarding some news in the movie industry. One, Adam Sandler was recently denied an Oscar nomination for his role in the great film Uncut Gems due to many of his previous films. And Robert Pattinson is getting grief over taking the role of Batman for previously being in Twilight movies, despite him being in several great films over the years like The Lighthouse, Good Time, and Lost City of Z. How do you feel about past movies affecting the ability of actors to find success in Hollywood? Keep the great work and rage on. Stay awesome." Marcus, he says, "P.S. I hope one day for a Gregorian chant is made for. I hope one day that a Gregorian chant is made for Dongacles. Make it so, internet." So,
yeah.
I don't give a fuck what anybody's done as long as they're good.
That's the thing is that a lot of actors were known for doing shit that they weren't popular for back in the day. Like George Clooney was known for
ER
and Attack of the Killer of Tomatoes Part 2.
Yep.
Kind of thing, and then he became a household name one day. Leonardo DiCaprio. I remember a lot of people hated him for basically no reason because he was in Titanic and I think a couple other romantic type movies at one point.
It was a little irritating the way that the press was just like Hollywood heartthrob. Leonardo
I think that was part of it too, yeah. And so people treated him like shit for a while.
Yep.
And then The Departed came out, and everybody's like, "Oh, who's this Leonardo DiCaprio?"
It was earlier than that.
Even though, that was like the peak for a lot of people. Is the thing. Like that was the moment people just outright forgot, like entirely, what he did prior to that point.
Is it Aviator?
I think Aviator was afterwards.
For that, let's find out. I know there was something that was like a weird turning.
But that's
point.
the thing is, Leonardo DiCaprio had been doing a lot of good stuff even before The Departed.
Yeah.
But The Departed is the moment people just forgot he was the dude from the Titanic kind of thing.
Yeah, I mean, Johnny Depp and Brad Pitt were kind of like that too.
Yeah, exactly.
Like heartthrobs.
They were a lot of those guys were heartthrobs. And honestly, we're just in that stage with Robert Pattinson. The only difference is that all of Robert Pattinson's good stuff isn't wide released like Leonardo DiCaprio stuff was.
Yeah.
And I think once he really hits that stride, same way he did, he's just going to turn out fine.
The Quick and the Dead. Ooh, I like that.
Adam Sandler kind of made his bed there with his stuff. But the thing is that he's tried dramatic stuff and has been praised for it. And honestly, he could do it. All he has to do is stick with it. Is the issue? Is he keeps going back to the dumb well, I guess is a good way of putting it. Instead of making stuff like Punch Drunk Love and Uncut Gems, and even to a certain extent that 9/11 film that he did, with Don Cheadle kind of thing. Like if he just kept that up, we probably would still see him differently. Same with Will Ferrell, to be honest.
It's just one of those things where I'm like, when I go to Sandler and I'm just like, if you were Adam Sandler and all you had to do was like go on vacation with your friends and write a script about it, and then you just got like a paycheck for $2 million.
Yeah.
Wouldn't you do that?
That's the thing.
Wouldn't you just do that instead of like, I don't know, working really, really hard? If you could just go have a vacation with Chris Rock and Paul Blart, and then somebody handed you a check for a few $1 million, you just be like, yeah, why would I ever want to do a fucking
That's the thing is, if Adam Sandler, well, that's what I'm saying is, like, if Adam Sandler actually gave a shit about being considered a serious, like, quote unquote actor,
yeah,
then he could do that.
Yeah,
but he doesn't want to, and there's nothing wrong with that, to be honest. And with Leonardo DiCaprio, that's why Leonardo DiCaprio, he wanted to be a serious actor, so he did a lot of movies that would be considered serious.
You know, looking at DiCaprio's filmography here, I think that he has been incredibly unjustly maligned. Because
he absolutely was.
Way more. I mean, even pre-Titanic, he was in What's Eating Gilbert Grape.
Yeah, exactly.
Which was good. Basketball Diaries, which I'm not a big fan of because it's one of those like, I took a hit off of a reefer cigarette, and tomorrow I'm sucking cock for heroin, and it's like, that's not how that works.
No, yeah.
But I like him in The Quick and the Dead. I thought he did a really good job in The Quick and the Dead.
He does a really good job. But that's the thing. He was already a really good actor.
Yeah.
But he, Titanic, Romeo and Juliet,
Man in the Iron Mask. He was great, Man in the Iron Mask.
And but the thing is, for some reason, those two movies were the only reason we gave him shit.
Yeah.
No idea why. Like, I look back at the times I used to give him shit.
I think it's because,
and I'm like, but why though?
I think it's because he was on Tiger Beat.
Like, I think that's all it came down to.
It's just like young girls liked him. I know that a lot of people probably either are fans or don't like her, but Lindsay Ellis has a really good video called "Dear Stephenie Meyers, I'm Sorry," and it's about basically like her re-examining her attitude about when Stephenie Meyers wrote the Twilight books and how she was like, I was so mad at this fucking Midwestern Mormon mom who just wanted to write her fucking vampire love story. And I was like, justify your choices. This is a problem. You're a monster. And then when you look back on it, it's like, and then there was this weird expectation that Stephenie Meyer must like answer all the negative criticism that came from Twilight.
Yeah.
And it was just like, why?
Exactly.
And she makes a really good point in that video about how, like, as a culture in the United States and America, we kind of hate young women, and like if they like a thing, we're kind of like, ugh, Jesus, this, that like young girls get this kind of bad rap of being like vacuous idiots because they like the heartthrob teenager kid in Twilight who rescues the teenage high school girl who's weird and different. But like, we don't give anybody shit about Hobbs and Shaw. Like,
we should sometimes though.
We don't give anybody shit about like, the fucking like in the 80s, some of the dumb like Commando, like dumb action power fantasies what have dudes in them, or like how stupid the Chronicles of Riddick is, even though I fucking love it, but it's still stupid, but I love it, but it's stupid. But if girls like a band, we're like I don't know the number of people now. Like I know there's a lot of weird like retro love for like the Backstreet Boys and NSYNC, but I remember when the Backstreet Boys were modern, and like people hated the Backstreet Boys.
They hated them and the NSYNC.
Hated them. This
98 Degrees.
Fucking girly pop band bitches. And it's just like, and now it's like, yeah, they got the cold open for Brooklyn Nine-Nine with I Want It That Way. Whereas like,
turns out everyone loved them this whole time.
I don't think they did. I think that their attitude has softened over time.
Probably. I don't know. So maybe there were people who didn't want to admit it, kind of thing.
Yeah.
I was not one of them, I mind you. But
as far as the stuff goes, I mean, like, I don't know. Anybody that wants to give Robert Pattinson shit, I don't know. I guess kind of this whole thing is one of the. We go back to the writing question thing about them. There's sometimes when you have to just be like, you know what? You can all go fuck yourselves, because like I'm Robert Pattinson and I have more money than you.
That's the thing.
I made so much money off those fucking idiot Twilight movies and being Cedric Diggory and fucking Harry Potter that now I can just go be in Cosmopolis because I feel like it, or the Lighthouse. Like
no one hates Twilight more than Robert Pattinson. Like that's the thing. Like it's a known fact how much he shits on Twilight. Like if you watch the actual original the original commentary to original Twilight, it's just him shitting on the movie the entire time.
Yep.
Like him just like explaining things like, yeah, I thought this was dumb as hell, and the director and Kristen Stewart would be like, what the fuck is wrong with you, kind of thing.
Also, I get into this whole thing if you want to judge Robert Pattinson of just like it kind of I don't know. I thought about this a lot with like the woman who played Rose Tico. Like Robert Pattinson didn't write his lines.
No, he didn't.
He didn't. He was directed where to go, where to stand, what to do, what to say, how to say it by a director, by an author, by a production company. It's not like Robert Pattinson made up Twilight.
Yeah,
like
it's
the same
not
way
his
that,
fault.
You know, what's her face that was Rose Tico? She didn't make up Rose.
Yeah,
she didn't say, "Hey, Star Wars guys, put me in your movie and make it so that everybody hates me now."
Yeah, that's not how any of this works.
So, you know, of course, it's so weird talking about this because Adam Sandler kind of did do that because a lot of them were like his production company and like, you know, there's a lot of those Adam Sandler movies where I feel like that was him getting writers to do, like, he did have creative input in a lot of those.
No, he absolutely
processes.
has creative. That's why he's always the hero of like all of his movies except for like maybe 3 of them.
Right. But I don't know. I think, you know, John Travolta's career was dead until he did Pulp Fiction. And we're just like, holy shit, this is great. You know,
a lot of people weren't taken seriously. Bruce Willis was a comedy guy.
Oh yeah,
until Die Hard came out, kind of thing. Like it happens to everybody. Everybody's gonna get shit on for a while, and then they're gonna do something that everybody's gonna be like, oh, I misjudged him, kind of thing. And honestly, he has done those things. Just not everyone has seen them.
I think all that matters is whether you made a good movie.
Yeah, that's exactly.
I don't care who you are as long as you made a good movie. So.
Exactly.
All right, let's do some Discord questions. We don't have a lot of time left. Let's see. Kate Josie writes in and says, "Hey, Jeff and Michael, I'm currently in a master's program in a film school in LA, and I am really considering dropping out to work on movie sets. Most people start in the industry at the bottom, regardless of film school education or not. Have you ever thought about dropping out of a school, and what were your thoughts during this period? If you haven't gone through this, did you have a friend that did? Love you guys." That's from Kate Josie.
Everyone I know basically dropped out of school at some point.
I dropped out of animation school.
I dropped out of my college stuff. My friends dropped out of their most of them dropped out of their college stuff, and they're doing fine, more or less.
That girl in Greece, she dropped out of beauty school.
Oh yeah, that was the thing. Yeah, everybody drops out of like the thing. There's a lot more dropouts that have done a lot more, as long as they found what they wanted to do and then stuck with it, kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
And if it worked out for them, it's a gamble, kind of thing. It's like,
I think it depends on the industry.
It also depends on the industry. Yeah,
like nobody's going to hire you to be like a. I don't know, to pick something technical, right? Like a welder.
Yeah.
If you drop out of welding school halfway through.
Well, actually, I don't know. Maybe.
I don't know.
Depends on how good of a welder you are. But no one's going to hire an engineer.
Right.
It's more like no one's going to hire a technical engineer if you're like the only thing you have on your resume.
Yeah, I did 70%.
It's like, yeah, I did 70%, and then I worked at retail the whole time. Like, no, they're not going to hire you, kind of thing.
Yeah.
But what you're saying is if you drop out and then help be like an assistant on something, and then maybe get higher and higher from there, you have a pretty good shot, to be honest. In fact, a lot of the people who started in the, at least story-wise, I've heard in the business, some of them started that way.
Mm-hmm.
Start off as somebody's assistant and then kept going from there, kind of thing.
A lot of college too can be making connections. So if you already have enough connections to get hired into a thing, what I would say is maybe like if you're serious about it, look for an in first.
Yeah, don't just do it and expect it to fall in your lap.
Once you've got an in, then you can drop out of school and be like, I didn't finish school because I got hired on to the set of Gladiator 2.
Yeah. Look at the risk reward kind of thing and figure out if you are willing to take the risk kind of thing. Because the thing about dropping out of college is that the debt doesn't go away.
Well, that's true.
Just because you decided to drop out doesn't mean that they're like, okay, don't worry about the money then.
True.
That's the thing, is you have to figure out, is the risk worth your reward? And if you have the tenacity to actually try to make it all the way through for the reward.
Yep.
Is the hardest part.
Also, it wouldn't be a bad idea to, if you're in school, to maybe talk to some teachers or some people that actually know something. If you've got people,
the connections. Make as much connections as you can.
Well, no, but just to ask them whether this is a good, because some industries, like to be honest, in the art industry, like certification and degree means next to nothing. It's your portfolio, your demo reel. Like that's what's important.
Yes.
Is if somebody can look at art that you've made and go, "Oh, holy shit, you're good." Like whether somebody can hand you a piece of paper saying this guy can draw, but if you can't draw, the piece of paper is worthless.
Yeah, exactly.
Like it's about the skill you have. So in some cases, if you're a musician, I feel like your ability to play a song is going to be more impressive than a piece of paper that says like, I graduated from guitar school.
Music notes. It's like, that's great, but can you use those notes to make something?
Yeah.
And if you can't, then they're going to tell you to fuck off.
Yeah. So maybe check it out.
They're going to auto-tune you. It depends on what industry it is.
But higher education, can be kind of a drag, man.
It's a 50-50 thing. Is that depending on the industry, as you mentioned, a lot of times that stuff doesn't actually get you anywhere. I know plenty of people who have degrees in something that never use them at all. Like they honestly, a lot of the times they use it just to become a manager somewhere because they just go, "Oh, you have a degree. I guess you're a manager now." It's like, but I didn't do anything. Well, you're a manager now. Yeah, look at that degree. So literally all it's for the most part nowadays.
Yeah. Besides, you can always go back to school and major in business, and then you could just get a job and just get money. Just give you money.
And the thing is, honestly, you already have a degree because you're going for your master's is what you've said. So honestly, I don't even think it matters at this point, to be honest.
All I know is what Kate here has said. I don't actually know what the deal is like in the film industry in LA, so it's hard
tricky
to say whether advice. But I do know a lot of people who have dropped out of high school or dropped out of college.
Yeah, so. And there's a lot of people that we know who've done that. And honestly, get yourself out there as much as you can. Like we know somebody who's writing for something now because he did a bunch of writing competitions to the point where he got good enough to where now he's got hired by an actual like writing thing. He writes for a TV show now.
Yep.
So just go for it, really.
A different Mike writes in, not you. It says, "Hey Jeff and Mike, I'm going to be moving to another city at the end of my current lease, which is at least September 31st, and I've realized that I've been constantly putting off job and apartment hunting. I feel kind of, moderately terrified at the idea of leaving what's been a rock-steady 6 years, the same job and apartment for something unknown, even despite the fact that I'm going to live very nearby many of my old high school and college friends. They're all in the same part of the city by sheer coincidence. Do you have any advice for this situation? Thanks, have a great night, and I hope I'm not too late in submitting this question." That's from Mike. There is nothing. There is no shame in being terrified at change.
No, yeah,
especially when it comes to living situation and job situations.
Like I've lived in the same place for about 4 years now, and I've seriously considered the idea of maybe changing location every now and then. But it's a tough situation. Even when I moved into where I'm at now, I had to really buckle down and start looking. Because I kept going, I'm going to move out. But the problem with moving out is that a lot of people forget that there tend to be time frames where you get your best move-ins types kind of thing. Because you can't just keep going not every apartment complex is going to have open spots every single day. Like you're going to show up and be like, this place is perfect. That's great. You should have been here a month ago kind of thing.
Yep.
Like you really should start really seriously looking now if you're going to start moving. The apartment hunter type people, they're actually not bad, to be honest. Like they actually do a pretty good job to help you start, especially if you don't want to actually like look yourself, essentially.
Yeah.
Because that's how I got my current apartment. They get like a small percentage off of what it is, and they don't just immediately. They don't take you to a place and be like, "This is it," and that's the end of the story.
Right.
They actually will show you like multiple places, and you'll be like, "Well, is this one good?"
They're like a realtor.
Yeah, exactly.
Like a realtor. Yeah.
They're just a realtor that you and you don't even actually pay them technically. They get paid by the fact that you got an apartment, kind of thing, with whoever they're working with.
Something.
And so they actually will do a pretty good job with that. They'll even work with your circumstances. Like they'll ask you, like, well, what's your credit like? Do you know if you have anything bad on there? Kind of thing. And if you do, I'll see if there's a place that I can find that will work around it, or maybe even we'll figure that part out, kind of thing. And it's tricky, but
main thing is you got to do it.
You got to do it. You got to buckle down. Either buckle down and go out there and start searching yourself.
Yep.
Or maybe find somebody like that, or even just ask maybe even a friend who might have it. For any recommendations for that area, because you said you know a bunch of people that live in that area.
Yeah,
they themselves probably have their own recommendations. Either their place, they might even get a discount or something based on getting referred or something.
There is a little bit of a trick with the fact that if he's moving to an entirely different city, it might be more difficult because I feel like apartment locators tend to be in the place where they are, right? So I don't know how far away he is from the city.
Well, he would just have to, like I'm saying, that's what I'm saying is he has to go there, start there, or start with them, or go there himself anyways and start doing it.
Yeah.
Which is why I think even asking the people who are there, because he said that a lot of them are there.
Yeah.
They definitely will have some good ideas too, to be honest.
Online is a good way to do that as well.
Yes. There's a lot of Jeff Goldblum commercials out there.
You know what's
for that sort of thing.
You know what's a good tip if you're having a hard time starting a thing is if you've got like a good friend to that you can be like, hey Michael, do you want to come over to my house and look at apartments with me, and I'll totally like buy us a pizza later. And then it's like, then if I know that you're going to be coming for that specific purpose, then I can't just be like, I don't feel like it. You're like, no, Michael's going to be here at 3:00. I am going to look at apartments today.
Exactly.
Like, what do you think about this one? So.
Yeah, ask your friends, honestly, I think is a great start, especially if it's a different city. And especially if they're definitely living in the same area.
Yeah.
I think they would have a better idea of good places and bad places. Because every now and then you'll find a place you're like, this is perfect. But then you find out you're living off of Runberg kind of thing, which only makes sense if you live here in Austin.
Yeah. Yeah.
And yeah, so just be mindful of it. Ask for help. Don't be afraid to ask for help. Is really what it comes down to.
Wow. What? Okay. These are all in a weird order. Okay. Let's see. Puff and Stuff writes in and says, "What is your take on the Pattinson Batman? I think that after Lighthouse, his abilities, I'm all in on his abilities as an actor. Do you think he is unjustly judged by past performances? P.S. Have you considered Dawn of War: Dark Crusade as a sequential with Jason Murphy? I know he's a fellow Warhammer fan, so it'd be fun to watch." So I don't think I've ever talked about this before, Michael, but when Red Dead Redemption 2 is done, Jason Murphy is not ready to sign up for another balls-long sequential. Like, he's going to kind of go back to the kind of showing up every so often for a little Rage Select as opposed to every week. So we'll probably have him on more dojos, maybe have him on a couple dojos once or twice a month, and less of this every other week thing. And that is 100% like super cool beans.
Yeah.
Because he's been doing the sequential with me for like a year and a half now.
Yeah,
so.
The Red Dead 2 thing was a promise he made on a thing that hasn't happened in ages.
Yes.
So odds are we can't trick him into doing that again anytime soon.
No. Also, because I basically said to him, like, hey, when we get done here, do you want to do another game? Do you want to just not be friends anymore? Like, something in between? I mean, like, I understand if you don't want to be friends with me after this. Like, I get it. You and I have been playing the dumb cowboy game for a long fucking time, all right?
Oh, jeez.
Like, Jason and I ran out of stuff to talk about 6 months ago. Like, both of us kind of stay at home, and we record them all in advance, so I never want to do current events with him because it means that they're going to be outdated by the time the episodes come out,
I guess
right?
that's fair.
So, yeah. Besides, if I was going to play a Warhammer 40K game, I would play Warhammer 40K Space Marine.
Yes.
Because that game is rad and I love it. But back to the Pattinson thing, I mean, I don't think we actually talked about, do you think Robert Pattinson will make a good Batman? I think anybody could be a good Batman. I'll be honest with you. I think that now that we've even got the whole, like, Ben Affleck voice modulator in that cowl, I'm like, put anybody. I don't give a fuck. Put anybody in there.
That's the thing about Batman, and that's also the message of the end of Dark Knight Rises, is that anyone can be Batman.
Yeah.
Kind of thing. Honestly, it just comes down to what kind of Batman he's going to be, to be honest. It's not even that I think he's going to be a bad Batman. It depends on what are they going to do with it. And that's what I'm more interested in. Is he going to be a mixture of, like serious Batman and not serious Batman? Is he going to be...
It looks like a pretty serious Batman.
A super serious one? Is he going to be the brave and the bold kind of thing where it's kind of like it's campy but also serious? I don't know. Like, we don't know 100%.
Yeah, I saw his suit and he got him on his like motorcycle and shit.
Yeah, like he has a bat cycle, like an actual bat cycle, which we haven't seen in ages kind of thing. Like, seems to be... Like, we're not 100% certain where this is going. And that's the thing. I'll wait and see where it ends up.
Yeah, me too. I'm fine. But the other thing, though, that I will say to you, to everybody, is, Michael, I'm what's the word? I'm a little Batmaned out.
No, I'm completely Batman out. I've been Batman out for years now.
Yeah, I've been Batman out for a long ass time. In some ways, I think that I might have been Batmaned out before the Nolan films started, because like for any of you who are like 10 years younger than me, the Batmania when the first Tim Burton Batman came out was psychotic. Like,
it was massive from
it
what I
was
hear.
huge. And then right after that, it's like you had the sequel, and then you had the Schumacher films, and then you had Batman the Animated Series. It's just Batman.
Yeah, it was just
Batman.
every DC animated film was Batman.
Yep.
Every game is Batman.
Yep.
It's just like I've been Batman out for years, and every time there's an anniversary for him, they throw that shit in my face as hard as they can.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, guys, I don't care anymore.
Yep.
It's like, please use somebody else as your main thing. And they're like, no. You're
Also,
going to get more Batman.
It's funny because I was
you want Justice League Dark? It's got Batman in it. It's like, God damn it.
I was watching this new guy that I've been watching on YouTube. God, I need to tell people his name because I've mentioned him like in 3 different videos, and he did a really interesting video that was called like Batman. It's called In Praise of Shadows. This guy is not very popular, or like not by YouTube. He's got 56,000 subscribers.
Not too bad.
And he's like, you know, his things tend to go anywhere from like he did one called Watchmen and the Art of Sequentials that only got 9.5 thousand views. So I think it's kind of small. But he did this one that was pretty cool that was called Doobie Doobie Doo.
It's a weird name.
Where the hell is it?
Just
he doesn't have that many videos either. It was called History of Scary Clouds. Oh yeah, a world of gothic horror. The problem with modern Batman.
Oh, okay.
And he talks a lot about how like the really seminal Batman stuff came like in the 80s. Like,
oh yeah.
You had Arkham Asylum. You had the Killing Joke. And
Dark Knight Returns is part of that time frame.
Year One.
A lot of the Neil Adams stuff.
Yep.
I think was around that time, which is very amazing.
A lot of stuff that Batman has been kind of leaning on since then.
Yes.
And like the New 52 Batman was like okay, but like was it really that much different than?
It was just a lot of that stuff, but it's with a new fresh coat of paint, or at least some of it.
Well, and then his conclusion is that there was a point where they modernized Batman, where they made the city of Gotham less of this like gothic hellhole and more of just like a city.
Yeah.
And that was a problem because Batman doesn't work in just like a bright afternoon city very as much as he works in the dark, grimy, shitty Gotham. So
that's why original Batman the Animated Series works so well, because it's the dark, grimy, shitty kind of gothic area.
Yeah.
Instead of instead of the way Superman the Animated Series was everything's very futuristic looking.
Right.
Even the guns are futuristic looking kind of thing. Like he wouldn't work in a city that looks like that. Just not right.
In a lot of ways, though, I don't. Just as a very brief aside, I mean, I think it all depends on how it looks at the end of the day. But I actually prefer Batfleck's costume to this Arkham costume, because I don't like the way that the Arkham costume. I like the way it started, where it was very like the gray with the black bat and the black cape and the black gauntlets and the utility belt. But then it had some kind of like, it was very textured and it had a lot of kind of like embedded what looked like technology in it. But by the time we got to Arkham Knight, I feel like there's like with here, like the bat symbol looks like it's made out of weird technology, and he's got these like but I don't like it when Batman looks too technological.
Yeah, that's my issue with Arkham Knight. Did I tell you when I replayed Arkham Knight, I just outright didn't use that outfit? Because I had unlocked everything by that point, and so I just put on the Arkham Asylum outfit and just played the entire game.
There you go.
And I found myself going, you know what? I like this a lot more.
Yeah. I think there's a good cross section between. Okay, so you've got the Adam West gray and blue Batman.
Yes,
and
with
then
the
you've got
weird kind of symbol.
Tim Burton all black Batman.
Yes,
and then you've got the animated series gray and black in the middle, and that's the one I like because
that one I think is the perfect one. And I love the yellow on the symbol.
Yeah,
honestly, personally, to be honest.
Did the animated series have the yellow?
He did, or at least the original version did.
He didn't buy Justice League Unlimited though, right?
Well, once it went into the Superman the Animated Series style,
right,
then it's just the black one, and it stayed like that from then on.
Okay. But yeah, I could deal with I haven't actually gone to watch Harley Quinn and the Birds of Prey, but there's other DC characters.
Yeah.
You know what? I know you guys fucked it up real hard, but Green Lantern's a good character, God damn it.
He is.
Like, the Flash is a very good, well, there is a Flash show right now, but
well, that's the thing is that there's shows.
Yeah.
There's not a lot of anything else past that point.
Yeah.
Like the Batman has literally everything. He's got so many versions of everything. If you look at the list of DC
spoiled rich Batman, there's a million movies, a million TV shows.
Yeah, if you look at the DC animated movie list, 85 or 90% of them are Batman. Or if they aren't, it has Batman in there somewhere.
You know what was really cool, Michael? You know what was pretty rad? Justice League Unlimited, where they had all those different heroes.
Yes.
Where Tigress was a big part.
Green Arrow was a huge part of that show.
Yep. The Question.
Yes, the Question.
As Jeffrey Combs as the Question was a huge integral part of what was
Huntress,
going on.
Captain Atom.
Big Barda and Mr. Miracle showed
exactly.
up. Who's that cybernetic cowboy guy? I don't even know who he is. It was Nathan Fillion.
He's just Vigilante, I think is his name.
Yeah, he was great.
He's great.
He's great.
And there's plenty of guys in that show that are
was a show where
so good at it.
Where Huntress and the Question dated, and it was
yeah.
What the fuck? But yes. But also what the fuck and also yes. There's so many good DC comic book characters, and I think it's just what about Superman and Batman? I'm fuck Superman and Batman. I'm so happy that there's a Shazam movie.
Yeah.
I'm so happy there's an Aquaman movie, even though it's a bit right, but
it exists at least.
Yeah.
we never would have had that 20 years ago.
Right. But the fact that the movies that came after Justice League were Shazam and Aquaman and Wonder Woman and Joker, and I'm great. And they're and now there's a new Batman movie. Come on. You're on a roll.
Yeah, we're gonna make more Batmans. You guys love the Batmans. No, I don't care anymore. Please.
What
stop.
about what were the Judd Winnick wrote a book that was was The Outsiders, where it was Roy Harper and Nightwing and a version of Metamorpho, and then
that's right.
Black Adam's daughter,
bunch of crazy shit.
Yeah,
but God, I want more of these characters that are used a lot, to be honest, in the CW stuff. CW is willing to be there's a Black Lightning show, and fucking Huntress is in this episode, or Green Arrow and Roy Harper and all those guys. I'm yes, please use them outside of this.
Yeah,
and they just don't, and it makes me sad.
Yeah.
They have an elongated man right now in the Flash show. They introduced Sue Dibney. It's these are people I want in other things. It's
you know what? Here's the thing. I'm going to tell you right now, ladies and gentlemen. Elongated Man is a bad version of Plastic Man. He's a version of Plastic Man that can't do as many things as Plastic Man. And yet, Elongated Man is a great character.
Right?
He's such a good character because he's a detective instead of just being a stretchy superhero. And he shows up in the Starman book that what's his name Robinson wrote for years, where he moved to the city that Starman is in and just starts to become a detective there, because all these weird superheroes that nobody's ever heard of moved to the city, moved to Opal City, where Starman and the Shade and one of the Solomon Grundys and another guy that was Starman in the 70s and it's just psychedelic fever dream. Starman's amazing, but he's there. And the fact that Elongated Man is a great character that totally works in a world where it also has Plastic Man in it is amazing.
That's the funniest thing about
amazing.
DC is one of the few anythings where there can be multiple people with the exact same power.
Yeah.
That work in completely different ways.
Yeah.
Plastic Man is an ex-crook who, is now a superhero. Like you said, Elongated Man is a detective dude who's stretchy. There's 4 or 5.
And his wife is a huge character in his story.
There's 4 or 5 characters who can freeze things in all of DC, and they're not related to each other in any way. You have Captain Cold, Ice, Killer Frost, fucking
Mr. Freeze.
It's just fuck. How many ice dudes do you have out there?
Well, not only that, but there's what I mean, not even counting the core, but 12 main Green Lantern, or
there's a lot of Green Lanterns, and they keep adding them.
Yeah, you got Alan Scott, and you got
Alan Scott, Hal Jordan,
Kyle Rayner,
John Stewart,
and
then you got the 2 new ones. I don't remember their names. Guy Gardner is another one
for a while.
So that's 7 of them right now.
Yeah,
that are from Earth, by the way.
And that's not counting Jade.
Oh yeah, that's not counting Jade or.
And then the extended core.
Fucking,
anyway.
That's
This is going to go off the rails here.
Well, that's the thing. There's also like a bunch of Superman characters, Superman Kryptonians.
Yeah.
There's Superman. There's Supergirl, Superboy.
Yep.
There's the Eradicator.
Yep.
There's Zod, Steel. Like all of these guys, like essentially are the same
Steel
dude.
is the Kryptonian, but he is kind of.
But they're all part of the Superman family.
Yeah.
That's what I mean. Like they all have the exact same like S. Essentially.
Who's the kid?
Except for Zod.
Connor.
Oh yeah. Well, that's Connor, Superboy. That's Connor
Superboy.
Kent. I guess,
But
if
he's
you
a clone.
I guess if you count Jonathan Kent, then
Yeah.
now.
And then there's the Super
aged.
Horse,
Yeah, then there's Super Horse.
Super Dog.
Yeah, it's Comet. Is it Comet the Super Horse? There's a
Crypto the Super
Yeah, Comet the
Dog.
Super Horse, Speedy the Super Cat, Crypto the Super Dog, and I don't remember if there was
That's
another
even
one.
counting like the DC 5 million Superman or whatever
Oh,
that
yeah.
came back. and
The Supermans from the futures.
Yep, futuristic Superman.
Oh my God, there's so many. That's the thing. DC's the only thing that's like, can Super get away with that? Because Marvel started doing that recently. Because there's like 3 or 4 Spider characters.
Yeah.
Running around, but they're consistently making fun of themselves with that. Thank God on that one. Because there's like a bunch of people with the same name.
One of the points in that video was actually that the Bat family has become too big.
Oh, it's become
And
massive.
that Batman in the comics Batman should be a loner, not the leader of this like fucking 25-person Bat team that operates out of Gotham, because it's like Huntress and Catwoman and the Cassandra Cain Batwoman and then the other Batwoman and Nightwing and Red Hood.
I did like that there's a story where Joker points that out.
Yeah.
Because it's I think it's Death of the Family, where Joker is just like, yeah, you don't need all these fucking dudes. Like, you're Batman. You're the loner guy.
Yeah.
What are you doing hanging out with all these people?
And then his kid,
Yeah, he has a
Damian,
son.
and
now apparently he's going to have another son or daughter or something. 'cause
oh
Catwoman's
yeah, that happened
pregnant.
this week. Catwoman's
Yeah.
pregnant. Pregos.
So Tom King's like, yeah, let's go do this shit.
Yeah.
It's like, sure, I guess.
Anyway, so all that is to say that if you read comic books and then you've been inside of this for a long time, you might just be like, I'd like a different movie, please.
That's the thing.
Thank
If you've read
you.
enough comic books, anyone can be Batman,
Can
because
I get
Batman
a Martian
is a crazy
Manhunter
character.
movie?
Yes, Martian Manhunter, Plastic Man movie. Fuck it.
Who's that? Who's that angel guy that Grant Morrison wrote into the JLA in the middle of like the early 2000s or whatever?
I don't even remember his name. I know who you're talking about, but I don't remember his name.
Where like he comes down and yeah. Anyway,
You know what? Make a movie about Bibbo. Fuck yeah, I would watch that.
yeah. Yep. Anyway, that's all the time we got. We actually have gone way over time because
Jimmy
we started
Olsen
talking
movie.
about DC superheroes. So thanks everybody for listening. mail@rageselect.com is the email address. Send in your questions and your stories and whatnot, and we will read them. And if they contain certain topics, we might just talk about Batman, Superman for 20 hours, because if you put Michael and I in a room, we're
Yes.
probably going to talk about Superman for a long time.
It doesn't take a lot.
Superman's great. You should go read some Superman. Go watch Superman movie. There haven't been as many. Superman.